Okay, can you hear me now? I hope so. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, great. Hopefully this works out. I don't know why I didn't transfer my settings. I guess we'll find out, right? Like, hopefully I don't have to do this when I switch to the actual screen again. But we'll find out. Apologies. Like I said, I'm pretty boomer at this. But yes, gang, yes, hello. So I was saying hi to all of you. I was being very cordial and kind. Moodit, hello. I'm sure I'm saying your name wrong. I apologize. Temperance Quill, always a pleasure. Chanzarook, nice to see you. Sam, Through Scrutiny, Peter Moritz, An Angel That Has Fallen, Jan, Smika, hello to all of you. And all my lovely, lovely Wickers out there in the chat, right? I appreciate you for coming through on this Thursday. We're doing a YouTube exclusive today, right? So it should be fun. Should be interesting. And we're going to be covering the Milo and Destiny debate. I haven't seen it yet. I've seen memes. I've seen memes about it. I've heard it's a memey good time. But, yeah. I like Twitch. Look, I make good money on Twitch, too. So any place that can give me money, yo, I'm with it. Get my cringe hat on. Look, I am born to cringe. That's kind of my brand, is being cringe. So, you know, is what it is. We're waiting on President Sunday. He's got to take 5 minutes, right? Oh, was it that bad? Well, LS12, thank you for coming for the time you're going to be here, however long you can take it. The benefits to React content is that if the content's really, really bad, maybe the reactors will make it more interesting and entertaining. I don't know. We'll find out. But, yeah. I'm eating some ramen. I hope you guys can't hear it. Like, I don't know if the noise gate... I had a noise gate on this, but, given that my mic wasn't working, yeah. But anyway, President said he's going to call in, so... We're going to call in. Switch screens. I'm gonna do this shit. Give me a moment to adjust settings if I need to. Oh, give me a second.
Give you a sec.
A second.
What kind of sideshow do you think I'm running here?
The Sundick sideshow. That's
God
the kind of
right.
sideshow. I see your OBS, but I don't see you.
Give me 1 sec. I'm catching up.
Oh, beautiful! It actually transferred to my screen just fine. I was worried about that, but all good.
You know what you could try doing? If you can, like, I don't know, if you can just like carve off the sides of my screen in OBS, then you can just expand that. I don't know if that works.
You know what? We're gonna try this at some other time, probably off stream. Like, I don't want you guys to suffer through the tech.
That'd be a good idea.
Yes, it would. We need to at some point. We don't want you to suffer through my boomer tech thing, because I can see this going really wrong really fast. But hello, how are you?
I am doing swell. Your audio is a little bit tinny. I don't know if that's just me.
Let me see if I can mess with the game.
Maybe make sure in Discord you have like the right device. I find that's a problem with me a lot.
Yeah. No, it's the device wait. No, you might be right.
Of course I'm right. I'm the president.
The output device is on default, not the Yeti Stereo microphone. Let me try that. Is this better?
That is so much better.
Better? Better? Awesome. And better. Gang, on my end, can you guys hear me better? Is it doing good? I hope so. They'll take a minute to respond, but yeah. You wanna introduce the show? I introduce it all the time.
Not particularly. So I actually have no idea what it is we're watching exactly. I know that Destiny and Milo. Do you know what Uncensored America is?
I've never heard of it before. I recognize it's some sort of debate format. But yeah. I've never seen any of their work. So,
anyways, Destiny and Milo had a debate, and we are watching it, because that's the only way you can get me to go through this stuff is if somebody's paying me for it.
Can you do me a favor and stream it to me so I can make it big for my my audience?
That might help a little bit. Yeah, hang on.
And
one
then they
sec.
can hear it, and then they can, you know.
Yeah, where is the? Oh, here we go. Okay. Sorry, I have to figure this out every single time, like it's alien technology.
You know what? I understand. I empathize.
Okay, and then I need to click on you again, so it's you and not the debate. There we go.
Beautiful.
Brilliant. Can you see that?
I can.
Okay, I think we'll start off here, because I think he's not speaking until he comes on screen. And then, as of course is tradition, to handicap myself so that the libs in the audience can keep up, I will be playing Resident Evil while we do this.
Fair enough. Oh, out of curiosity, can you full screen it, or something? So, because I can see your chat and stuff.
Oh, I can. I'll just have to recarve it a little bit. Hang on one sec.
Okay, I do what you need to do.
I can do the cinema scale.
That works. That works. I just didn't want like, it's already busy, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't need.
No, I hear you. The only thing is if I do it full screen, then I can't see my.
No, I get you. Okay, cool.
Yeah, okay, just give me one quick sec. Let me just pare this down. We want to crop like probably about 150 on the left. How's that looking? Maybe a little bit more, maybe 200. And maybe 400. Oh god, that's way too big. 400, 200. There we go. That works. Okay. I think we're in business. All right. Let's roll. As soon as I move this thing up here. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Let's begin. Let me know if the audio is good. That was beautiful.
The intro music alone, it makes this worth it, right?
All right, so the rules for this debate, we're going to go over real quickly before we start. But the question we're going to be answering today is, should Christian nationalism be the dominant governing ideology of America?
Uh-oh.
We will have 10 minutes each of prepared opening statements, and then each of you guys will be able to go through 5 minutes of rebuttals each. And I will ask...
I wanna get a feel for the squids over in President Sundays, for the Whickers over in my my chat. If you have seen it, please forbear from spouting off. But what's the prediction that this goes just as off the rails as a normal Twitch debate, right? As a normal panel show, as a normal kind of debate where the topic might start in one way but just goes so far off field that it becomes just chaos. Like, if you think that's happening, that's going to happen, put 1 in chat. If you think they, because of the format, stay more relatively on base, put a 2 in chat. I haven't seen it. I don't know. I've heard things, but I'm trying. I want to get a feel for the audience. That's all. Go ahead.
Yeah, so let's see. Well, can we expect a squid or an imp level of decorum in this conversation? Thank you so much. Okay. Sorry, I'm speaking squid for the benefit of my audience.
2 questions for each of you, and we'll rotate between you guys. You'll each have 5 minutes to answer the question I've directed towards you, and the other person will have 3 minutes to respond. And then we will have a 30-minute Q&A and Crossfire, where you guys will have questions from the audience, and you will also then be allowed to sort of go back and forth between the two of you. So you can kind of have fun with it. It'll be a complete free-for-all. So after that, we'll go for 5 minutes each for closings. And you guys are allowed to have prepared openings, and I will give you guys hand signals throughout so that we're all on time and so that everything is running smoothly. So let's get started. with the openings. It will be 10 minutes each, and we are going to start with Milo.
Is that indigo?
Oh, he's awfully quiet.
Yes. Okay. I have to give you some credit for having the cojones to show up in Tennessee barely a month after the bullet-ridden bodies of children have been buried, as a sort of representative for a culture that did it, and offering anything but condolences and sympathy. I think it's disgusting.
What was the topic again? Did I miss the topic? Did I mishear the topic? Was it not Christian nationalism?
It's something to that effect. He kind of looks like Johnny Depp giving a speech right before he's about to ride off screen on a chandelier. If I'm being honest.
Look, that jacket was a choice. That's all I gotta say. Okay, right? I'm not gonna make fun of people's immutable characteristics, but that jacket was a choice. Oh.
I don't think that jacket was a choice.
What?
That jacket is a religion.
You know what? I mean, like, maybe he found God or something. I can't think of any explanation other than that. But to also open with such vitriol, wow. Okay,
that's not vitriol. That's gravity. That's a.
I don't know about gravity.
He is bringing down.
That was an accusation.
It's a grave accusation. You are disgusting and abhorrent. You come here amidst tragedy and bloodshed on this decorous panel.
Being a representative of those responsible. Wow, just to straight up, and he did it in the backhanded compliment way that they do. Like, he started off, I'm going to give you credit. The credit where credit's due, and you're expecting, and the audience is expecting, oh, he's gonna like build a bridge a little bit. It's gonna be nope. He set that torch on fire. No possibility. Knowing Destiny, not very well, but enough. This Destiny, you could say all you want about him, but he will not back down from a fight. So I'm really excited now. Go ahead.
I think this is gonna be a bloodbath just because of this opening. Let's press on.
Shameful.
Shameful.
How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you show up here offering anything but sympathy? Because,
you feckless cur.
you know, I think I should have stand or something.
You plunderer of widows' purses.
We're familiar with what happened in Tennessee. We're less familiar with the reasons why. But the reason was that at any given time in society, there are about 20% of people who are just fucking nuts. And those people will glom on to whatever the fad is for people who are fucking nuts. So the current fucking nuts is trannies.
Oh my
you can
God.
see in
Whoa,
social
I'm glad I'm not
trends
on
when
Twitch.
You plot
No kidding.
anorexia and bulimia, which was the big thing when I was growing up, against the new nuts. There's basically about 1 in 5 people who are just not really all there and will kind of do whatever.
This is a hell of a thing. Oh, by the way, this is thumbnail material. Let me zoom this in a little bit. Wednesday, please save this.
That is pretty good.
I am, yeah. Wednesday. Let's make it happen, okay? I was just gonna say, from the mouth of anybody else, that's a different statement than Milo 𝕬𝖎𝖙 going, the new nuts. You know? I don't know.
I get the joke. Yeah, don't worry. Didn't go over my
When you hand those people, those unstable and dangerous people, a victimhood script, when you give them a license to commit violence in the name of their supposed identities, instead of giving them the treatment and the love and the prayers that they need, you turn those people into killers. You turn those people into time bombs. And there used to be something in America that would protect against that. It was Christianity.
What?
I think it's shameful that anybody would show up so soon after a tragedy caused by the kind of ideologies that...
Can somebody in the chat, sorry to pause this again, Whick, can somebody in the chat find out when this was organized? Because if this was arranged any more than 3 weeks in advance, and given the fact they had to fucking fly out to this thing, I'm imagining this was probably in the cards for a solid couple of months at least. Can we find out like when it was decided that Destiny was going to appear on this? Because this is a bizarre line of argumentation. Why are you even appearing? He hasn't even given his opening statement yet. Like he's not even describing anything that Destiny said. For all we know, Destiny's going to literally just be. He's not going to be because it's Destiny, but it's just going to be consoling and just like meek and mild throughout his whole 5 minutes. We have no idea.
Oh, I mean, they have debated before, so let's give credit where it's due. Milo knows Destiny's style, and so I think it's a fair bet when you go into these things. If you come at Destiny, he's going to come back. He's not going to be meek and mild. I haven't seen him do that. So,
yeah,
you support, and do anything but offer sympathy and condolences, and celebrate the ideology that has protected us against this sort of thing for so long. It's outside the scope of our evening this evening to prove or disprove the truth of Christianity or Christ or whatever. But I'll make a few points.
You don't really have much time to at
There
this
is
point.
no America without Christ.
What?
And the reason for that is that this is an intrinsically and fundamentally Christian nationalist country, by which we mean it's built into the architecture of the nation. There's no getting away from it.
the
You can
First
lie about
Amendment
it.
says otherwise, buddy. Right? Like we're talking about the foundation of the country. The first one, motherfucker, was separation between church and state, as well as free speech. But yeah, that was the
I mean, just leaving aside the fact that a by that point deep and long developed liberal and deist tradition directly informed most of the founding fathers. This is a silly statement. If he wants to say, as some have argued, that a Christian ethos, which arguably informs a lot of the positive things about liberalism, is sort of endemic to like some underlying constitutional assumptions in America, I guess, but that doesn't get you to a point where you can't criticize Christianity qua Christianity. That's silly.
And also, again, that wasn't his point. It was Christian nationalism, which is a different thing. So.
Yes. Nationalism being much younger than the foundation of America.
Can pridefully claim that, you can be good people without Christ. You can't. You're just inheriting a system of good and evil from the culture in which you grew up, which accords with the natural law. America was founded, as Adams told us, with a constitution that is wholly unsuited to the governance of anyone but a moral and religious people.
Christians famously guiltless of murder in history.
And when he said religious, he meant Christian, although he himself was wandered through various different kinds of heresy. What Adams said was that this country is, that its founding documents, that its founding architecture, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, were wholly and fundamentally unsuited to the governance of anything but a moral and religious people. Do you think that America is comprised of a moral and religious people today? Obviously it is not. And what he meant specifically was Christianity, because the way that America is set up outsources morality to Christianity. And without it, it doesn't work, because jury trials don't work when people vote with race instead of conscience and truth. A society doesn't work when people don't obey contracts, don't obey their word, when they're oath breakers.
You notice that slavery was a thing, right?
There's
that Civil War thing. I can't remember what that was about.
Look, I'm not one of those people who will say that religion makes you murderous or anything like that. I don't believe that. I think most religions at least aren't necessarily at their core about that kind of thing. But let's be real, even if religion wasn't there, right? Religion being there or not, people are going to be oath breakers. People are going to sin. People are going to, even through the ethos of Christianity, right? Like sinners we are in a fallen state, right? We are all sinners and we will all sin. So again, I just don't think if any of this follows, this is just like a stream of consciousness, it feels like. Anyway, yeah.
Judging by the way you're squinting, I'm not entirely certain stream of consciousness is actually an accurate description. I think the first thing that immediately occurs to me though is, okay, so let's take your premises for granted, okay? America was founded on Christian principles, was a fundamentally Christian nation, yada 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 yada. That's where all of its immediate prosperity and whatnot. We'll ignore the whole slavery and Civil War thing and all that other stuff. We'll ignore the fact that women could only vote in like 1920 or whatever. Leave that aside.
On.
Black people could only vote in when 1960, something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's your country. It's not my. Oh, you're.
Well, no, they technically. Okay, so no, they technically could before, right after the Civil War, but they were there's some issues, right? That this is why.
Oh, sorry, not voting. My apologies.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm mistaken about that.
Okay.
But let's leave all of that aside. Is where I'm going with this. Those premises are what led you to our present condition. Leftism, the trans ideology, however you want to construe it, that stuff is really historically recent and emergent to some inevitable degree out of that, including Karl Marx, including all the people who, he would take to be the fomenters of its opposite. So, I'm immediately, what immediately comes to mind is that line from No Country for Old Men. It's like, if the rule you followed led you to this, of what use was the rule? What exactly is he extolling here? Because he's talking about the thing that is the direct, he's talking about the thing of which our present condition is the immediate consequence. So it seems like a silly argument on its face.
The architecture of America rests fundamentally on a bedrock of Christianity, without which the entire thing falls apart. And that's exactly what's happening. And you don't have to take my word for it. You don't even have to take Adams's word for it, but one of your own Supreme Court justices, somebody who was famously left-wing, Rehnquist, I think it was. Can't bother to look it up, but he said that everything in America presupposes the legal system, the social system.
They're saying on my end, Milo's volume is a bit low.
Presupposes the.
I'm gonna lower our volume.
Yeah, it's a tad.
Yeah,
that's fine.
He's very quiet, but I can't really. Well, actually, I can boost it a little bit.
You can right click on it and turn the stream volume up, like the stream that you're streaming right now. I can do it. You can do it. You can
well, you can. I think I need to turn all of my.
Can?
I think I need to turn all my volume up at once. I don't think I have the option for the stream.
Oh, that sucks. Okay. Well,
yeah, I can alter your volume.
Money. Sorry. Do what you need to do.
Yeah, give me one quick sec. So,
while you do that, hey, gang, if you're liking this stream, whether you are a squid or a wicker, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We can't do this. We can't continue to do this. Oh, and thank you for the $20, Anja. Don't get too excited. It's an SA key, so minus a 0. Fair enough. You know what? Whether it be $2 or $200, I appreciate every cent. Thank you.
Oh my God, Whick is getting money and I'm not. What is this?
I know, it's crazy.
Squids, you're making me look bad. Come on. All right, let's, I don't know what to fucking do here. Okay, I'm going to turn your volume down to 90. I'm going to turn my volume down to 90.
Okay.
And I'm going to boost the volume of the desktop. And that should at the very least balance it out a little bit. Let's see how that works.
Existence of the Judeo-Christian God. Without that, it all comes tumbling down. And without that, it is coming tumbling down. And without that, we're not able to give people who have terrible
that was an Evangelion reference.
Sicknesses and weaknesses and defects the help that they need. Instead, we hand them victimhood scripts, and they shoot up schools, they shoot up churches, whether they are young white guys on antidepressants or whether they're transgender people who are told that it's white Christians that are responsible for all of their miseries. It is Christianity that keeps us nice to each other, that keeps us being good to one another. And if you toss it out, as happened in 1776 here, you have a really big problem on your hands because...
In 1776?
And I'm going to say something very radical and difficult to say in Tennessee, of all places.
1776.
There are freedoms afforded to Americans.
It will happen again.
That are too radical and too great and too daring without the insulation of Christianity. The First and Second Amendments don't work unless everyone's Christian. They don't work, and they're not working. They're not functioning. You can't give crazy atheists guns. You can't let shameless liars say whatever they want about other people in public without consequence.
Oh, is that true? Well, I guess I have to stop platforming you then, Whick.
It's true. I'm a shameless liar for money, gang. It's not shameless. I do feel shame, but the money overrides that. So when you give me money to say things, I'll say them. I'll feel guilty about it, but I'll still do it.
Oh, speaking of which, you have traders in your midst.
Oh no!
AnjaXTV, thank you for the 20 sec, and thank you Dietrich for the $1. And thank you. There's somebody up here. There's somebody else. Maybe
Portland is burning with 5. Jerkle Mortar with 2. $5 more for Team Whick. Neither squid nor whisker. I'm a sundicker. You know what? Fair. Okay.
Oh,
centrist.
God.
Is that centrist? Is sundicker now synonymous with centrist?
Sundicker is the new center. However, Sunday is the tip side, and you just got the base.
The tip side, and I'm the
Person next to me
girthy
is
shaft.
groaning
Okay,
heavily.
you may be the tip. I'm the groaning shaft. I'm what they
Sorry.
come for, right? At the end of the day.
Sorry. Thank you, Dietrich, for the $2. Squids are greater than Wickets. Yes, they are. I don't know what Wicket is, though. This isn't Star Wars.
Yeah.
There's a sort of
Utini.
there's a sort of unwritten rule that sits behind everything in America, and it is that these are all the things you get to do because we know that you can handle it. We know that you can be trusted with this because you love God, because you respect life, because you won't take other people's lives, because you'll keep your word. Without that, the First and Second Amendments become a sort of license to abuse one another.
Really?
Yo, Magni Por
Sweet.
Joranson was 1,500
They become a
ISK.
license
I don't know what
to
ISK
murder.
is.
Oh, thank God.
Yo,
I
I recently
that was gonna impact me in a negative way otherwise.
I
Dear
recently
God.
spent some money on sweets. I should not have. This is a step above in terms of spending wisely. DGL. Thank you for
Thank
being
you,
here.
Ryan Schmidt, for the $5 US. I'm new here, but I'm very much enjoying this side of Sunday. Cheers and bottoms up. No bottoms are on the right, tops are on the left.
Go on.
Too
I'm
much
sorry.
freedom.
I'm sorry.
Because there is such a thing.
Sorry.
And without an underpinning moral architecture, this country doesn't work. And it's not working. And since this country has fallen away from God, the Christian God, this country has begun to fall apart. And that's why all of this terrible shit is happening. That's why all the awful stuff on TV is going on. It's why you can no longer trust people to keep their words if you don't know them. It's why everybody keeps voting with their skin color or their sexuality or gender or whatever bollocks it is today. Because they're not unified under Christ.
Oh, this is
because
like
they're not
ASMR
one under
quality.
Christ, because they're not brothers and sisters in Christ. It doesn't matter if you agree with the literal truth of Christianity or not. The founders did, and they made a country for people who did. And if you don't agree with that, or you don't like God, or you don't see why too much
How long is
freedom
this opening?
is leading us all.
I was gonna say this is the longest 5 minutes.
Yo, like 2 minutes ago, I would have been like doing the hand signal, right? Wrap it up, let's go, right?
It's just because his voice is so soothing. Like the host is just back there
Yo,
with one of these, just relaxing.
I don't know if the squids know this, but the Whick side knows this. I used to be very religious. I used to go to church a lot. I was a missionary.
Really?
I did all that, right? I was a Mormon missionary, knocked doors for 2 years in Jersey, right?
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting, actually.
His
I want to pick
cadence-
your brain about
oh,
that sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. His cadence and the way he's speaking and the whispering and the kind of the passion, his way he's presenting this is very reminiscent of a lot of people I saw on the mission field and in my church and things like that, and how they would grow up speaking. And to be clear, it's a good oration tactic, right?
Yeah.
Speaking a little softer makes you want to listen. You strain to do so, right? And then you can build in passion and intensity, and as you build in passion and intensity, the emotions of your listener also tend to build and match in passion and intensity. It was just, it's interesting to me. That's all.
I've thought about that a lot. Like, before like ASMR was known to be a thing, people must have like registered that for people who don't experience it, ASMR is where you have like an actual like physiological response to like certain types of like soft and delicate sounds. People must have been like using that deliberately as a rhetorical tactic for forever. I have a feeling that's why Christopher Hitchens was so successful, because he was very effective at that. That's really interesting, and I've noticed this actually because I actually have on my ASMR playlist from like 10 years ago. I actually have a couple of videos of Mormon missionaries doing like door-to-door like sort of like studies and whatnot, because that they had that kind of effect. That's really interesting. Thank you, Dietrich, for the $5. This is for the Sneeko debate. Are you saying you want us to cover the Sneeko debate? Is there a Sneeko debate coming up, or I guess like a past one? That's a thing. We can do that sometime.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Let's press on.
Each other, and you don't appreciate that we should not only restore Christianity in culture, but require it in public life. You should go to Canada.
Yes.
You should go somewhere else.
Yes, you
Where
should.
there's a
Don't
moral
do it, Greg.
built
Don't do
into
it. It's a
the law.
trap.
But here, it doesn't work without God. And
It doesn't work without God and the bodies of how many Native Americans and a massive history of satanic slave trade that we're going to entirely put on the backs of atheists. Because apparently, despite the fact that America was founded as a Christian nation, everybody who was running its government and industry and military and so on and so forth was atheistic. What a coincidence. Who would have thought?
when you don't have him, when instead people replace prayer and the rituals of the church with antidepressants, with compound interest.
Oh my god.
With
With
and
sun dick
drug-
streams that you
drugs
should
and
be liking
fornication,
into.
kind of thing he does with his wife.
Yeah, for the love of God, guys.
Fornicating
Like-
with his wife? How dare he, right? Like, did he just say that? Like, fornication, the kind
Wait,
of thing
did he say
does
that?
with his wife?
Hang on. Let's see. Fornicating with his wife. Let's see, hang on. I missed that.
Leading us all to hate and kill each other. And you don't appreciate that we should not only restore Christianity in culture, but require it in public life.
Oh my god.
You should go to Canada. You should go somewhere else, where there's a moral architecture built into the law. But here,
Okay, just to be clear though, the moral architecture built into the law is English common law, and that is heavily inflected by the Christian history of Britain, and that is largely the basis upon which American democracy is founded. The break is the independence of the republic from the crown. It's not from all that other stuff, because it's fundamentally.
It was an
like
iteration, yes, not
Yeah.
a revolutionary thing. It was despite it being a revolution, it was an iteration on what had come before. So yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't work without God. And when you don't have him, when instead people replace prayer and the rituals of the church with antidepressants, with compound interest, with games and drink and drugs and fornication, kind of thing he does with his wife.
He
Fornication.
did say it. Fornication with his wife. What a
Now-
degenerate.
Now, to be clear, I am given to understand that Destiny and his wife do engage occasionally in fornication together with other people.
Yeah.
So that kind of counts. I don't know.
I guess I know.
I'm
It's just
sorry,
if you
I'm
don't
sorry.
know, the Destiny lore and you're just watching this, right?
Yeah.
That sounds really silly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, offering her around town like she's common property.
Oh no, he's that's not what he's talking about at all. He's literally talking about fornicating with his wife. No, actually, no, it's worse than that. He's talking about fornicating vicariously through his wife.
He's going in. Destiny's having fun. Oh, well, this is when Destiny, look, he's laughing and you may think that's cope or whatever, but look, he realizes, I think, if he hadn't before, that, oh, this motherfucker has opened some doors. He's opened a box. He started a fire, and this motherfucker don't know what's about to happen, right? Like, you start that, you light that match, you start that fire, but you can't control where the inferno goes, baby. So I don't know.
Thank you. That was good. Thank you, 𝕾𝖍𝖎, for the $10. If you don't want to be a Christian, move to Canada. Don't tempt me with a good time, buddy. Indeed. Wickers, you're falling behind. I'm gonna own his channel soon. You gotta keep up.
Come on, gang. We gotta fight the squids. Come on, we can do it. Anyway, carry on.
America doesn't work when we behave that way, because we'll all just end up murdering each other. That's all.
Destiny, you have 10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes. Okay. Wait. No, they said 5 minutes initially. I think they just let him go for 10 minutes.
I don't remember, to be honest,
I don't
if they
remember
said
either.
5 or 10.
All right, here we go. Come on, Tiny. The future of the Western world rests on your shoulders.
Yeah? Oh, nice. Okay. I'm not used to arguing for more freedoms against conservatives on stage, but I guess that's where we're at right now with the conservative movement, or whatever part of the conservative movement this is. Today, we've got viewers gathered from all across the world tuning in to a debate between me and Milo, where Milo is going to argue that we should turn the USA into an isolated, authoritarian, zealously religious country.
Oh, fucking
I think that technology is the Pandora's box that has changed this country and this world forever, and I don't think we're ever going back to the days of public squares and mail service by horse. Cultural exchange is happening, whether you like it or not, quite literally at the speed of light. Even right now, potentially hundreds of thousands or even millions of people around the world are listening to me and Milo have this debate. The only way to stop this type of cultural exchange is through the militant authoritarianism that Milo is talking about on this stage. That might be through his being against the First Amendment, that might be against his taking away of the Second Amendment, and that might be through the institution of a state religion. This means the destruction of our freedom of speech, our ability to produce media, satire, and comedy, and our ability to communicate openly on the social media platforms we've all unfortunately grown addicted to. After Milo gets his way and abolishes the First Amendment, is he going to be the one deciding who we can or cannot make fun of on Twitter? Is the world really going to return to how it was before birth control, before women had the right to work?
If Milo, though, will read me bedtime stories to sleep every night, I will accept that exchange.
Go on.
Before gay people were allowed to get married, before we were allowed the ability to freely worship whatever God we wanted, or abstain from worship altogether, I reckon that we cannot close Pandora's box. Christian nationalism, as it stands today, isn't even a coherent ideology. The proponents will argue whether there's an ethnic component, whether one needs to be Catholic or not, and whether one needs to even be a Christian or a supporter at all in order to idolize somebody for a Christian nationalist ideology. How many more porn stars does Donald Trump need to work his way through behind his wife's back before Christian nationalists stop worshiping him as their savior? As small as Christian nationalism is as a movement, even with it being as small as it is, there is still endless infighting. Anyone who's taken a gander recently at Milo, Ali Alexander, or Fuentes' Telegram account can attest to that. And now, with an already fractured and fighting minority movement, some want to put even more restrictions, such as race, lineage, sexuality, LGBT status, or geography on who ought to be allowed to join their movement. The glory days of Christianity are largely over. While the number of worshipers have ebbed and flowed through time, it's impossible for us to return to where we came from. In 1999, almost 70% of Americans were part of a church, synagogue, or mosque. And just 20 years later, in 2020, according to Pew Research, that number has fallen to just 47%, a minority of the population for the first time in U.S. history. We need to be realistic about the coming years. We need to help our young men and women find purpose in the world, stop pretending like some Christian nationalism is the answer. We need to find ways to get our young people engaged with their friends, family, and their communities in ways that synergize with the technological explosion the entire world.
Yeah.
So, one thing that's not wrong is that people lack purpose today, right? And community infrastructure is being decimated in America. I can't speak for Canada, but
you can. As a matter of fact, it's actually this whole escape to Canada thing is like don't get me wrong. If you're trans and you can swing it, escape to Canada, for the love of God. But no, we're especially after COVID, we are in dire straits.
Noted. Yeah, and it is a problem. It is having an effect. However, the answer that he and Christian nationalists supply, right, is no answer at all. But anyway, I just wanted to
Now that,
touch on that.
yeah.
right?
That being said, what I'm immediately thinking, chessboard. What I'm immediately thinking as I listen to this is that he's right. The statistical information he's giving is correct, and like in terms of the surmountability for a Christian nationalist of the demographic shifts in terms of religious adherence and so on and so forth, like impossible. I think that's fairly safe to say, but well, not impossible, improbable. But a Christian nationalist is not going to interpret that as anything other than a challenge. That's the thing that needs. That's the ill that needs to be corrected, not something to be adjusted to. They're gonna. So that's not going to be compelling to a Christian audience, which is the only thing that frustrates me about this, because he's being very. This is a very well constructed intro statement. However, it's a very well constructed intro statement for people who are already wedded to the idea of a secular future, which I think includes all company here, but. It won't be.
We'll see. We'll see how the rest
We'll
of it
see.
goes and whether he builds bridges or it turns into a shit show.
Has experienced. If Christian nationalists want to continue to practice Christianity in America, then I say we let them. However, we should never allow them to take away our right not to do the same.
What a libcuck.
Concise. Brevity is the soul of wit, and more people
We
should
will
know
now
that.
have 5 minutes of rebuttals from each of you guys. So
Damn, how long was that? Like a minute? Like 2 minutes?
Not even.
That was nothing.
start with Milo. You have 5 minutes.
Oh my God, Milo,
If
come on.
the movement, such as it is, I didn't realize there was one, but if Christian nationalism is not
Metatron is
adequately
slacking
defined,
off
it's
today.
because nobody used it before 2 years ago, which it seems to me to be perfectly reasonable. Trump is not a religious leader in any sense, and you're making a classic mistake of people who don't understand religion, don't understand God, and don't understand their own country.
I don't agree with
when you
that.
say, hold Trump up as a kind of moral example. Render unto Caesar. We don't expect that our presidents should be like Jesus, because they're not here to do Jesus' job.
Except people literally do. And maybe like this happens by way of sort of demonizing the opposition. I remember having discussions with like the grandparents of elderly friends, lovely people, but they were convinced that Obama was an evil man and influenced by Satan. Absolutely, I'm sorry. Like it seems ridiculous. It's difficult to conceive of.
I think it's nut picking to say that that he is a religious figure, because again, I live in a very right wing area of Pennsylvania. My family is very right wing. Most of the people in my real life are either Trump supporters or Bernie supporters. I mean, the overlap between these two groups is something that should be talked about at some point. But yeah, they all don't like what he does, but he is a soldier, right? So he is, I think he's been described to the King Darius, right? Who wasn't religious, as I understand it, right? But he was chosen by God anyway, even though he
King
himself
Darius?
wasn't.
Darius was a Persian king, and he was himself deified in his own kingdom.
Yes, but
I mean,
for a while they took over Jerusalem. The Persians took over Jerusalem and ruled it for a while. I'm not.
Oh, but actually, he's the Persian kings as a result of that are revered in the Old Testament, because these are the people who preserved.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They weren't.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They weren't Christian
where
or Jewish or Hebrew at the time, but they were
Like
still
noble pagans. Yeah.
Yes, noble pagans.
That applies too for like even like ancient Jewish fathers and whatnot. Like these people,
$10 from 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙. Purpose is being lost all over the world, not just America. Purpose is a function of our engagement with technology. I get the religious aspect of combating purposelessness, but why nationalism? Good question.
that'd be worth discussing in a little bit when we pause. Brethren, mammon cannot serve wickers and squids. Let's see some. let's balance the scales here.
If a man serves two masters.
It's interesting you talk about women's rights. I mean, Christianity is the... Sorry, I mean...
Women's rights.
I just don't know how hard to go in, really. I mean, you're talking...
Sorry, what's that?
I said women's rights. all I'm saying, gang, is before women got the right to vote, we had no cities destroyed by nuclear fire. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm putting out there. Okay, just keep that in mind.
You're not wrong.
Talking about the religion that gave women consent in marriage. You're talking about the religion that gave women the right to say no, that elevated them from chattel into...
Okay, hang on just a hot dang minute there. The religion that gave women consent in marriage. The religion gave women, in theory, consent to marriage. But you can find, and this is the one thing I will credit Steven Pinker, may spit be upon him, for highlighting, is that it was only until, like, I think 1950, I think it was up until 1950 rather, that you would literally find advertisements that referenced wife beating as if it was like a common normal domestic occurrence that wasn't like a crime. Or when was it that it was recognized that spousal involuntary sex was also rape? Like,
it's recent.
it's recent enough.
Yeah.
It's not AD1.
To human beings. You want to return women to chattel. You want women to be like your wife, passed around town. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to take moral lectures on the rights of women from...
Okay. For what it's worth, as someone who has, like, famously low regard for destiny, Melina's her own woman and she does whatever the fuck she wants. Okay? And so does Steve.
Somebody who treats supposedly their wife in what ought to be a holy sacrament as a communal sex toy.
Oh, that's gross.
Give me a break.
I'm sorry.
Give me a break.
Sorry. I gotta pause this again. Give me a break, Milo, who's talking about, like, all of the... I can't even
Look,
say.
he's just mad that Destiny isn't being passed around. He's just mad it's a woman. That's all.
He's mad that Destiny's getting more dick than he is.
True.
I'm going to take moral lectures from somebody who, for all intents and purposes, may as well have a fleshlight instead of a wife, who demeans and besmirches her honor, who speaks about a woman who should be treated with the reverence and respect and love that we treat our own mothers with, like she was something you could buy. Like she's something that
if you're treating your wife like you treat your mother, there's something wrong, okay?
Passed around to other men while you...
I don't know which way it's wrong, right? But, like, there's something wrong. A wife and a mother are two separate things, right? Your mom should not be treated as your wife and vice versa.
I think what he's getting at is that a good Christian man, like he doesn't fuck his mother, also doesn't fuck his wife. You know? I don't know. I feel like I'm in a weird position, like, where I impulsively want to defend Destiny's honor because this is gross, or Melina's for that matter. This is fucking gross. Like, this is just gross. Like, you're having a debate about Christian nationalism. This is the representative of Christian nationalism deems it appropriate when no personal slights whatsoever have been fielded by the opponent to immediately go after the non-present spouse. Well, yet.
I wonder how long that's gonna last. I don't know. Like I said,
I saw one segment of this.
No spoilers. No spoilers. But
well, no, it's not spoiling it. I need to remark on this now. I saw one tiny segment of this debate in advance in which Destiny was commenting in what seemed like a bit of a forced fashion on the way in which Milo was canceled earlier for the comments about how, like, child sexual molestation wasn't that serious in his case. And that was the only part that was... I didn't realize it was this bad early on. Like, dear God, this is actually, like, repellent. This is bad.
You watch. Flicking yourself off. So forgive me if I decline to take any lectures from you on women's bloody rights. As for gay rights, no thanks.
I mean, you know what?
I didn't want them when I was having sex with...
You know what, Whick? After the last 10 minutes, he's selling it a bit better than I thought.
With men, and I don't want them now. Catholicism and Islam are growing, in case you aren't familiar with the world outside these borders. And the reason for that is that everybody sees what a bloody mess we're all in, thanks to globalization, thanks to the information economy, thanks to the kinds of changes that he says are inexorable, because, like a lot of undereducated people, he doesn't have much of a grasp of the world before he was born. I think if you were to glance a little further back, whether it were to ancient Greece, or Rome, or the Holy Roman Empire, you would see plenty of examples in history, or even, dare I say it, the Weimar Republic.
Weimar.
A little bit closer to our own era. in which an era of rampant sexual degeneracy was indeed replaced by some quite stern social rules.
What the fuck is he talking about?
Look, I'm just along for the ride, okay? I've stopped trying to gain like meaning from his sentences, and we're just riding the ride.
Yeah, chat. The hobbits, the Shire folk, and the denizens of Relia are both suffering greatly through this. Give the little ones who fear the presence of men. Give them some support.
Let us get to Mordor, right? We need Gandalfs. Any Gandalfs in chat? Any Gandalfs, right? Want to give us some
render
powers?
render unto the proud feet what is proud feats.
To put it mildly, history is replete with examples of what happens when the public gets sick of people like you fucking everything up, breaking everything apart,
Steve,
and destroying all the things that make society precious, that make relationships work. In fact, if you are to look back in history as far as Greece and Rome, you might say that history is really the story of how people like you...
This reminds me of a President Sunday quote tweet of Destiny. So.
I know, right?
Yeah, like, sorry.
He's better spoken, though.
Yeah,
deserve, continually express views that are so far outside of the mainstream and so out of step with what ordinary people think that you have to be regularly slaughtered, and new governments have to be installed, and coups have to be engaged in, just to keep people like you in line, because otherwise we'd all be dead. So I'm sorry, but I'm certainly not going to take any kind of moral lectures from you on anything. But I've given you a few examples of why everything you just said is complete and absolute nonsense. But let me tell you, if your memory stretches back, and as you're at university, you're an educated person, it should be further than 1980. You absolutely can put it back in the box. And we must, and we should, because otherwise America is done.
All right, Destiny, you have 5 minutes for your rebuttal.
I want what he's smoking.
I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to respond to.
Fair enough.
I think it's a little funny
Yeah, no kidding.
that apparently I'm so far outside of what people regularly think, despite the fact that I'm pretty sure I'm giving you a bigger audience than you've had in the past several years post your cancellation.
Okay, so the box is
But I see
open.
that,
Personal attack.
This is what the dying.
Sorry, start again. I couldn't hear you.
No, it's fine. So we mentioned earlier how Destiny hadn't made any personal attacks yet. No, that's over. Box open. Let's go. Let's go.
Not even that barely counts though. But it still cuts to his fucking. Soul.
Yeah, no, it's just enough, right? Like the minimum amount necessary. Let's see if he goes in.
Thank you, Ryan Schmidt, for the $2. Tolkien reference gets a twosie. But why to me? Don't give it to me. Give it to the Shire folk.
Give it to both. Okay.
Yeah.
It is only when men, hobbits, and fae folk stand together that we can stand against the Dark Lord Milo and Destiny, whichever Dark Lord you want to fight at this time. So yeah.
Insomnia Noir for the US 20. I said I hope this wasn't going to be covered on stream, but this is at least bearable on the Sundick show. Forever, squids forever.
Oh God.
Oh, I pressed the wrong button.
Oh no, you fucked it up. You got money, you got excited, and you fucked us. You fucked us, Sunday.
No, where were we? Hang on. Oh no, where were we?
You fucked us hard. This is why, gang. Okay, this is why squids can't be trusted. You gotta,
We need to be realistic about the coming years.
Okay, I think we're here.
You get rid of the food.
No, we're not. Oh no.
Okay,
Oh, no, what
there.
have I done?
Try there.
I think it's a little funny
Yeah.
No, we're a little bit.
No, we were there. You were there. He's
No,
like,
they're
I'm not
doing
sure
it
what
back
to
and forth.
respond to. Right? He's like, I'm not sure what I was supposed to respond to. Don't fucking you. Have
This is what the dying. This is what the dying throws. I guess
nice.
of an internet provocateur, as he self-described himself back when you were writing on the alt-right, then when you were writing on Trump.
Are we cool with this?
Whatever. Let's go.
Okay,
Right?
I'm sorry.
I guess you're not
I'm
writing
sorry,
on guys
I
anymore,
don't know
because
how
apparently
this
you
stuff
prayed away
works.
gay, so whatever you're doing now. But I won't get into all that.
I just
will
play Resident
take the high
Evil.
road, despite the fact that you're one of the most obsessed with my wife's vagina gay guys I've ever seen in my entire life, which is very fucking weird, but very strange. I'll kind of reiterate what I said before, I guess. I don't know how long we're going to do this, but yeah, I think that Christian nationalism is largely a joke. I guess you can kind of see that the figures that are proponents of Christian nationalism, like Christian nationalism, are largely jokes. They don't really have any serious positions. They just sit up here trying to provoke. They really have nothing to offer the public, nothing to offer the public discourse, nothing to offer the people that are, I guess, trying to join and leave these movements, because obviously, as we can see online, they are ever fracturing and ever infighting more and more every single day. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on to the questions right now. The person
Poor
who
moderator,
will
he's
direct
like,
question
okay.
towards has 5 minutes
Oh
to
my
respond,
God.
and then the opponent has 3 minutes to respond to that.
Someone in chat, find out who hosts Uncensored America. Like, what even is this?
At this point, if I was running this, I'd just get out of the way. I'd let them go, right? Like, this content, sure, but it's not.
Yeah.
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 You gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, gang. Okay.
And the first question is from Milo. As we know, Christianity has a lot of denominations, and even amongst your faith, Catholicism, there are lots of conflicting interpretations of the Bible and other differing opinions.
Ooh,
How
heathen
would
splitters.
you, in your Christian nationalist society, coexist with non-Catholics?
You don't have to. I mean,
You don't have to coexist with non-Catholics. Just kill them all.
my patron saint, Louis IX, the only canonized king of France,
Oh no.
says that he knows what's coming already.
Oh no.
It must be Elijah. I've been warned about you. Said that it wasn't really proper to debate these kinds of things, and it's better to run somebody through with a sword than than to hear them besmirch the faith or whatnot. But
Called it. I guess.
Damn.
if you
I use. Ugh.
think that coexistence with Christians is such an onerous and dreadful burden, perhaps you might like to tell the Jews, who seem to quite like it. In fact, Jews really seem to do best.
No, that's not
Why
true.
are you bringing the Jews up?
The Jews liked Muslim rule over Christian rule because they didn't fucking hunt them down. They just taxed them. Just,
Look, okay, I gotta let you know. There's apparently a competition in my side of chat, my side of the Sundick show, to understand who's gayer. You or Milo?
Me.
Gang. It's
Silence.
obviously Sunday, okay?
Obviously.
Obviously.
What is this?
Carry on. But that was funny.
Slander. I can't believe I even associate with you people. Fuck.
In the sort of situation that you have in the West with a Christian governing majority and a Jewish minority, so that we don't all get too super serious and up ourselves. And we have some
You're
good new
supposed to be turning the
interpretations of
wheel.
Mendelssohn
Why are
now
you
and
over
again.
here?
There aren't any conflicting interpretations of the Bible in Catholicism. There is only church teaching, and church teaching is eternal, unless some pope comes along
Yeah, because the Catholics decided if you have a different Bible, you're not Catholic.
and decides that even Francis hasn't done that he's going to rip it all up.
Ryan, thank you for the
Coexisting with
$2.
Christians
Appreciate you.
is the easiest thing to do in the world.
My bad, I didn't know where the Tolkien money went. It goes here. Thank you.
And I can't remember who gave this example, but if you heard footsteps, this is not my analogy, but
I think it was Tolkien money is technically paying you in the farmer maggots crops.
heard footsteps coming up behind you in a dark alley at night, would you feel safer if you knew that it was Dylan Mulvaney or any church-going Christian?
Dylan Mulvaney, hands down.
Yeah, I could take Dylan Mulvaney in a fight. Okay, I'm not a fighter, right? But if it came to blows, I'm pretty sure I could take Dylan Mulvaney. I don't know if I could take a churchgoer. Like, it depends.
Dylan Mulvaney can do whatever Dylan Mulvaney wants to do.
All right. For Destiny, you have 3 minutes now to respond to that.
I'm sorry. Can you read the prompt again?
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
sorry.
As we know, Christianity
I'm
has a lot of
sorry.
denominations. Even amongst your faith,
You're not
Catholicism,
watching.
Milo's faith, there are lots of conflicting interpretations of the Bible. How would
Eli,
your
I
Christian
hate you.
national society coexist
That's
with
funny.
non-Catholics?
Well, I mean, the society that I advocate for is the one that exists today, where people are allowed to worship whatever religion they want. I think that right now, America is superior to a Christian nationalist version of it because of two different people.
Through
decide they wanna
scrutiny,
worship
thank
two
you for the
different versions of
$5. Thanks for
Christianity.
making this
They
watchable.
have
We're
the right
trying.
to do that. Obviously, in Milo's world, I guess the non-Catholics even, I think, would get killed. I don't know how many, where the killing starts and stops.
Sorry, Whick, did I miss anything?
No, it's just $5 from Through Scrutiny. Thanks for making this watchable. You're welcome.
For his version of Christian nationalism, or ethnically, I don't know where that starts or stops. I heard the run through the sword thing. Maybe you forgot what you said. I'm not sure what you were doing in the bathroom while we were waiting for you for 20 minutes here. But...
No. Running through with the sword is a peaceable recreational activity.
Look, it's a gay joke, okay? Like this is
exactly,
just what he wants to do. He wants to run through people with his sword, and that's, you know what? If that's his party, if that's his jam, it's a euphemism for his dick, to be clear. Okay.
No, I think if memory serves, Milo likes being run through more than to be the through.
You would know more about this than I. I have not researched this subject, so
would.
I will accede to your expertise, sir.
Squids, give the minority member of this stream your support, please. We live on super chats.
Do it.
Maybe it's affecting your memory a little bit. But yeah, I think in the United States, I think one of the reasons why the United States works as well as it does is because we've allowed so many different people to come here, worship in the way that we want, or worship in the way that they want, and we should continue to allow them to do so.
40 minutes is a terribly long time to do a line of coke.
I agree.
I was late.
And speaking of keeping your word, being on time is part of keeping your word. That's just a personal pet peeve. Maybe it's my military background, but like.
Are you getting at me for starting the stream late?
No, you were 2 minutes late. That's fine. I've grown to expect it in streamer world. But an hour late is what Milo just said. He said he was an hour late. That's yeah.
The small bigotry of low expectations. Why did you stop YouTube? I pressed play.
Just don't lose our place again. We're good.
I was late for the ordinary reasons that people are late. I was at the hairdresser.
All right, Destiny.
I have the personality I have. Sort of stuck with it now.
Now your question, Destiny. You have 5 minutes to respond to this, and then I'll have 3 minutes to respond to that. Some would argue that a society without religion at its core would devolve into a nihilistic society, deprived of any meaning or purpose. How would you prevent in your society, non-Christian nationalist governing society, from devolving into a nihilistic, meaningless society?
I think that you have to have something greater than yourself to live for, and I think religion is like a really easy package to give somebody that kind of solves for a lot of those problems. It gives you a nice guide for how to view the world, it gives you a nice guide for how to view your family, it gives you a nice guide for how to live an ethical life, and through that package, people feel like they have something greater than themselves to live for. I don't think it's impossible to have that thing without religion, but I think right now we're very politically fractured as a country, and it makes it really difficult for us to have those things. So for instance, there are certain topics that are hotly contested that I don't think should be. So for instance, all of us should be able to say we're proud to be Americans. That includes progressives, that includes BLM people, that includes people on the left, it includes anybody that might, however far left you go, you should
not
be
Canadians.
That shouldn't be ground that we cede
what are you talking
to
about?
people on the right.
Should be
I think
proud
it's
to
kind
be
of
American.
Especially Canadians. Manifest destiny, baby.
Okay.
shame that if you see an American flag on somebody's car today, you basically know that they're a conservative because nobody on the left would put that on their car. I think that's an insane proposition.
That's not true.
So I think that when we've gotten to this point to where we're so politically divided that people can't even feel proud of their country.
I think it's a little bit. I mean, like, I'm firmly on Destiny's side in this debate. I think it's a little odd for someone in his position in particular to say that we need something greater than ourselves to believe in. You know,
purpose. We need purpose. I'm with him on the purpose thing, though. We need a purpose, whether we find.
But I mean,
that...
purpose is just meaning by another name, no? Like you're talking about something beyond yourself that you can sort of.
Well, you can have an internal purpose. You can have derived meaning from something internally, right? Like for some artists, for example, their meaning is to create art and to express themselves, and that's one example, right? But it doesn't have to be something outside yourself or something bigger than yourself. But purpose is good. And
I mean, I guess, but like I feel like for a lot of people, just drives reliably satisfied or satisfiable kind of fills the gap. It's not to say that I think that that's like necessarily like a healthy thing to govern a person or that like, you know, results in like a good ethos, but what are the conditions being set here? Is this what's required for the country to not devolve into civil war or mass nihilism? Like, I mean, bluntly, in my experience, most avowed Christians operate on a similar scheme as Destiny does.
There is something to be said about prevention of hedonism, and we could probably have a debate at some point, or a talk or a conversation about whether hedonism is something to be avoided. I tend to lean on yes. I think that lack of discipline, right? And I'm not talking Christian values or any religious values here, but just lack of self-discipline is a problem. And it's
no, that's a principle going back to Aristotle and Livy. That's not Christian in origin.
Country anymore. If you also take away religion from those people too, then they're kind of aimlessly, I guess, wandering from Twitter to Facebook to YouTube to whatever, just endlessly shitting on each other with no common united purpose. So I think that one of the things we need to work on more than anything else is kind of healing some of the political fracture that exists in this country. I think it's good that we argue with each other, but it's not good that we are relentlessly banning people from every platform so that we're all kind of like gathering in different areas and we're not even able to have conversations with each other in the same reality anymore.
Oh, you cut out. If you were
Did
talking,
I?
I can't hear you.
I don't think I muted it. This volume's on. It's playing.
Oh, it's playing? Oh, I thought you paused it and were trying to say something.
No, this is the video is running and it's just frozen. I guess their camera went or something.
Hopefully it comes back soon. Yeah. I mean, he's saying some pretty milquetoast stuff, I think, at this point. I think he's kind of checked out. He realizes this is a joke, not a debate. And, he'll just get out what he needs to get out. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. To me, when I have something like... Oh, here we go.
Oh, it's back.
Christians build. I mean, earlier he says, you get rid of...
The Christians saved us.
The First Amendment, and there goes satire. Again, apparently a memory that doesn't stretch back before 1980. Because I think most of the best satirists were Christian Europeans, weren't they? And before that, they were pagans. And, we live in a very Hellenistic kind of a...
The best satirists were... What is he talking about?
I think we're getting rid of the First Amendment. So when he came in, he said, if we get rid of the First Amendment, we'll get rid of satire. And he's like, no, it's not, because these people were satirists. But go on.
It's complete and total bollocks.
That's the hypothesis.
And you've been doing a lot of complete and total bollocks, assigning positions to me that I don't hold, and saying, he wants to murder everyone, he wants to kill all the blacks.
Okay, we've introduced this now. Nobody even mentioned that until this point.
No. Look at the societies that Christians build. Look at the things they build. In Catholic theology, there's a thing called the transcendentals, and it's supposedly the things that all souls have in common, that all people yearn for, and which brings us closer to an understanding of God. Now, opinions differ on how many of these things there are, but the core three that everyone agrees on is beauty, truth, and goodness. And it seems to me that if you look at the...
Case in point, even Wickers watch the Sunday show.
Sunday is the beauty, Whick is the goodness, and together we bring you truth. Go ahead.
Frescoes in Italy, or you listen to German composers, or look at Dutch painting, that we in Western Christian Europe have done a pretty good job of embracing beauty, truth, and goodness, and also self-sacrifice and sacrifice for love, which is the central image of Christianity. Feuerbach, the philosopher who was not a Christian, did not like Christians at all, said that you can sort of tell what a culture's all about from its religion's kind of central symbol. Ours is Christ on the cross, dying for someone you love. It's Tristan and Isolde. It's all the things that we think are most noble. It's sending people to war to die for their country.
Okay.
All of those values, all those things we love.
Is that a value we have? Sending people to war to die for their country? I mean, kind of. I mean, we do that a lot. But is that something that people are like, yay?
Christian nationalism is extremely perverse. I don't know if you ever read like the autobiography of Chris Kyle.
I have not. I'm unfamiliar.
It's weird. So you'd think like a staunch conservative Christian would be like God, country, family, or God, family, country, something in that order, right? He goes country, can't remember what, and then God or country, God, family, something like that.
So he puts the country before God. Interesting. Why? Did he kind of give a reason for that, or was it just?
It's a very dumb book.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
But there's a weird fetishization of when it's Christian, when they say Christian nationalism, depending on who you're talking to, you can often read that as actually nationalism with a kind of
With Christian characteristics,
with a Christian glazing,
okay.
Because we have learned
or a
goodness from
Christianese
Christianity.
glazing.
And we can insist in a prideful way that, oh, no, I'm good because I made myself good, because I got there through reason. All right, mate.
Reason. Kind of
Just look at the
uses
societies
reason.
that Christians build, and you tell me where you want to live. Is it Abu Dhabi?
I mean, I hate that word too, but still.
Is it the Congo? Is it Sparta?
Oh, you mean the Congo?
Or is it Western Europe?
The Congo, really? Really, really, really?
Okay, chat, calm down. Milo won this debate. Yeah, we'll find out.
Hang on. I'm
Be the
just trying to
greatest
make sure
comeback of
my
history.
geography's right.
Congo's in Africa, right? Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah. I was thinking of Uganda. Never mind.
Okay.
Europe, maybe 50 years ago. I know where I'd rather be.
All right, last question for Milo, and you'll have 5 minutes to respond to this, and Destiny will have 3 minutes to respond to that. Some would argue that societies governed under one faith can devolve into tyranny. How would you prevent a Second Inquisition or a Soviet-style dictatorship with them forcing people to proclaim their allegiance to the state and faith?
Well, the Soviets are crap because they failed. I mean, they failed to do what America has accomplished, which is have people thank you for their enslavement and ask for more chains. The Soviet Union never really achieved that, but America has, with prescription drugs and all the other things that people are addicted to. I mean, everybody in this room is dependent on a cocktail, a little package, a little consumer package of things that get them through, whether it's their credit cards or gaming or whatever, passing your wife around. These are the things that sort of get you through life. I'm not terribly concerned about preventing another Inquisition. I think that'd be quite a good idea. Got a pretty bad rap, just like the Crusades does. I mean,
Yeah, largely for its treatment of Jews, by the way.
you won't hear this from dishonest people who throw accusations at, without really listening to the arguments of their opponents and who aren't educated prior to 1980. But the Crusades were a defensive war. The Inquisition wasn't all that it's been said.
What do you mean it was a defensive war? It was in a different continent.
Hey, look, we're just gonna ride the ride, hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times. Let's get through it. Let's go. Right? Milo's on drugs or something. I don't know.
He's drinking the water with the gay frog chemicals.
Have an enormous problem with us wandering around and making sure people aren't murdering each other in the womb and making,
Murdering each. It sounded like he was talking
Womb
about
fights.
twin exactly, twin fetuses. Just
sitting
there
back
can
in
be only one.
poor, landlords in Brooklyn. I don't have a terrible problem with that. I don't think that protecting against tyranny is the thing that America should be most concerned with at the moment. I think an urgent, strict, and perhaps stern realignment to a much more conventional morality would make everybody happier. And I don't think that anyone in this room can honestly say that America is better now than it was when most people were going to church or at least God-fearing.
Yes, it is. In almost every metric.
You have to be a Christian to.
Yes, it is. By almost every metric. We are in a better spot today than we were 30, 40, 50 years ago. We just are. Like, we still got problems, and we have a few unique problems, social media being probably one of the bigger ones, right? But yes, we are, right? We are in a better place. There are more people, right, that are out of poverty, that can have access to basic rights, medication, things. Now, again, it's not perfect, and we have taken a few steps back in recent years, but we're still better than 30, 50 years ago. We just are.
I disagree. We must fight the Xenos and not allow the heretic to live.
Ugh.
Just
40K
like Christian
shit.
society, Christians are the best of all at letting people in. Sometimes too much. Sometimes the people that come in end up messing everything up. You don't have to be a Christian to benefit from a Christian society.
Oh yes, of course. It was the foreigners who introduced godless leftism to our goodly Christian shores. Those completely non-Christian Germans and so on and so forth.
Society, and lots of people in this room have done exactly that.
Yeah, you're feeling guilty,
But when you
aren't
take God out and things start to fall apart, you end up in a world nobody wants to live in. And we are in. Sorry?
What year?
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what year?
Oh, well, I mean, if I had my way, I'd go back to about 1200.
Yo,
mean,
WFC
lots of-
champ, thank you for the $2. Greetings from Peru. Well, it's pen, two pen. I don't know the denomination there, but thank you. Welcome. And to 1200, like AD or BC.
I thought someone was giving Whick $1,200. Like, dear God.
Oh
guys,
no!
come on.
Look, if you guys want to drop like fat stacks on me, by all means, look, you can buy me. You can rent me out. Let's say.
Guys, donate to Sunday so we can buy out Whick.
Well, I there's a price tag, and if you can pay it, whatever you want, baby.
He knows that like he would be dead in 1200, right?
Absolutely. I don't know if he knows this. I don't know if he understands where he is right now. I don't know if he's aware or cognizant of what is going on, but who knows?
Lots of propagandists in university departments call it the Dark Ages. Well, this is a conversation another day, really, but it seems to me it was quite a nice time to live. And I think that you would find, if you care about
I've
this,
consulted state-of-the-art geographers and meteorologists, and I am informed that it was in fact quite sunny back then. A little less so. It's gotten a little bit more intense in recent years.
kind of thing, if you do care about things above and beyond yourself, if you care about where we go afterwards, if you care about leaving a good legacy, if you care about being good to the people around you, I think a lot more people in 1400 got into heaven each year than do now. And
You got
I
stats
don't
on that,
think
buddy?
you have to be a Christian to accept that that's because we're not nice anymore and we're not good to each other. And the reason for that is the failing moral architecture and underpinning of society, which was required by the founders, or this stuff doesn't function.
You know, I hate to say this as the agnostic non-affiliated in the room. I don't think he's actually mentioned anything Jesus has said anywhere in here, which would include, by the way, very unkind words for people who have to run through people with swords in order to maintain a pleasing state of affairs for them. I don't know.
Mudagarral says for $5. Weird, Milo wants to go to a century just before the Black Plague in Minecraft. So many Europeans and Christians. Noted.
It's not.
All right, Destiny, you have 3 minutes to respond.
Can you hit me up with that prompt again?
Some would argue that societies governed under one faith can devolve into tyranny. How would you prevent a second Inquisition or a Soviet-style dictatorship where people have to proclaim their allegiance to the state and faith?
I mean, it's kind of a hard question for me to answer because I'm not advocating for Christian nationalism, but I would say obviously we should be allowed to carry on as we are now, where everybody's allowed to choose what God they want to worship, choose the lifestyle they want to live, as long as they're not encroaching on the freedoms of other people. I think you should continue to have the right to do that. So it's my argument in the negative. Also, I do think it's kind of funny that Milo pointed out that everybody in here is addicted to consumerist packaging, when I'm pretty sure that bag is worth like 10 times more than my entire outfit.
Damn.
It is.
Ooh.
It is.
I mean, I don't know if that one
Alright,
hit though.
Now we will
so.
do the last
Milo
question
is.
for-
It is. and fair.
It hit Milo, okay? Because he showed up. He showed up to
He looked
a
like
debate.
he looked
showed
like
up
he
to a
stumbled
debate.
through a thrift store to get here.
Look, he
Okay.
showed up to a debate going after trans people in defense of Christian nationalism with a fucking purse, Okay.
Look, he went all Macklemore
mouse,
up in
where'd
this
it go?
bitch. He went in there, he stumbled through a thrift shop on his way here, right? He had $20 in his pocket, and he went shopping, and now he's got the bling. So fair enough.
For you, Destiny, and then we'll go to the Q&A/Crossfire. Some would argue that most people are naturally drawn to some sort of faith or belief in a higher power.
Oh yeah,
How
thank
would
you. Thank you for that. So the Germans have come through. Just on the note about the Congo, alkali nationalism, rather appropriate, however, I wish we had a little bit more, is a political ideology, I'm sorry, that seeks self-determination by the Alkali people. A notable proponent of Alkali nationalism is the Lord's Resistance Army, a Christian extremist fundamentalist organization that operates in Uganda, the Central African Republic, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Anybody remember that Coney 2012? I can't remember. That's Christians, my dude. Those in the Congo.
to prevent your society from inevitably becoming a religious society and thus being run by the exact same organizing faith or ideas that you want to stop?
I mean, I think the important thing is for people to have something bigger than themselves to live for. I don't think it has to be religion, but if it was religion, I don't necessarily think that's the worst thing in the world. I think that the defining aspect of the United States is that a lot of people with contradictory ideas can exist within the same geographic borders, governed by the same legal system, voting on the same politicians, and somehow finding a way to make all of that work. I think we've done it for hundreds of years. I think we do it better than any other country on the planet right now, today. Not before 1980, not in the 1200s, but today in 2023, I think we have an incredibly diverse country of people, all sorts of creeds, all sorts of ethnicities, all sorts of different types of people that seem to be living together and making it work. I think we have problems right now, like I mentioned earlier, with the political division. And I think that that's a real problem that we need to combat, but I think we need to do it by having honest conversations about what we can do to move forward, not by talking to people that want to look back hundreds or thousands of years to what society used to look like before there was Gucci and hairdressers.
Can I ask you, Sunday, real quick? I'm just
Yeah, one
curious.
second.
I could live without both.
Shoot.
Yeah, if you could push a button and get rid of religion, would you?
Depends on what you mean.
So what I mean by that is, if there was a button and you pushed it, and if you did so, religion would cease to be in Canada, United States, etc. No one would follow it. No one would practice it. No one would be a religious person, and they would simply be agnostic, if you will.
I can square the circle for you.
Please.
So a premise of most sects of Christianity is that regardless of whatever else you may need in order to be saved, you also need to have a earnest and sincere love of God, and that is manifest by loving your neighbor in the real world, because you can't necessarily access God in that particular way. One of the things that having all these institutions with their own carrots and sticks, social and metaphysical or whatever, doctrines of hell, or just the benefits and the penalties of failing or succeeding and conforming socially and ethically with people around you, is that you now have a whole bunch of extra stuff that is making it basically impossible to be motivated by the expression of your religious loyalties. It is making it basically impossible to actually be purely motivated by love of God or love of your neighbor, because you have all these other things that are probably taking over that space. And so if you were to actually eliminate those things, you would actually make a central premise of most of Christianity significantly more attainable than in their presence.
I wonder if that's true. I don't know if it's true or not, but my immediate intuition, and keep in mind I could very well be wrong here, was that at least a lot of the rituals in many of these religions are designed in order to increase love of God and love of neighbor. I'll give you an example, right? We won't get into it. We'll do another day. Right?
No. I'm actually curious.
So one of the things, in at least when I was religious, we did there was a ritual that we had. Wasn't strictly a requirement, but it's something the church had you do. Was home teaching, where each individual member or family in the congregation would be assigned another individual from the church to be their home teacher, and once a month they were expected to go into their home, meet with them, and kind of give a spiritual thought or lesson. And they were also encouraged to do service for that individual. And that ritualistic kind of way of doing it, the the thought behind it was the more you actually serve others, the more you will want to serve others, the more you will develop a legit love. So fake it till you make it kind of thing. So yeah, I just wonder. I don't know.
Okay, but here's a question back to that though. Is that actually love that's being fostered, or is that like an intense psychological attachment to the act itself?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't answer your question.
Yeah.
If it meant that you would be left on a mountainside somewhere, your parents wondering which god they'd pissed off, which is exactly what would have happened in a pre-Christian civilization to something like you.
Probably would have left the gays there before people like me.
Well, I don't think you can tell when it pops out whether it's going to like cock or not. Maybe if it's your kid, but
What?
I'm sure you'll ensure that's the case.
Yo, don't go after people's kids. That's one of those unwritten rules, right?
I want to say he's speaking hypothetically, but if he's familiar enough with Destiny to be like preemptively attacking his wife, that's a strange decision. Especially once again for somebody who is extolling the virtues of Christian nationalism to go after one of those for whom the kingdom of heaven is supposedly,
It is better that a millstone be hung around your neck and you drown in the ocean than to offend one of these, my little ones.
That's, yeah. I don't think God likes anybody in this room, but I have a feeling he's slanting a little bit to the left side. If I had to bet.
Case.
Which is a statement.
I mean, you know all about kids liking dick, huh? Isn't that?
Would I?
You got him.
Would I? Would I? Tell us more about that.
Please do.
Would I? Because that's a pretty big fucking allegation. Would I?
Would you what?
Would I know about that?
Well, seems like it. Isn't that what you got canceled for?
No, I got canceled for talking about the fact that I was a victim of clerical sexual abuse. I was...
So about like little boys liking dick, right?
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, yeah.
There you go. You got there eventually. It's okay.
Okay.
I can tell you're coming down right now, but I'll walk you through the rest of my jokes if you need me to.
No,
Damn.
fair enough. Okay.
Savage.
Fine.
But I mean, like, look, I'm a peaceful person. I'm a nonviolent person. I tend to advocate for kindness, but there are lines you can cross where I think it's perfectly okay to punch back.
I do.
Go for it, right?
I'm a little bit curious if you'd be patient enough. I kind of want to see what that original clip was once again.
Do it. Go ahead.
Let's see. Milo 𝕬𝖎𝖙𝖚. Fuck. What do I put in? Child sexual abuse, I guess. Nice TOS friendly content. Here we go. Oh, thank God. It's 1 minute and 31 seconds. This should be shared.
Yep. I see it. I see
Brilliant.
it.
All right.
Go ahead.
So I think this is it.
Between the ages of 13 and 16,
Goodness, the years have not been kind to him.
2 men touched me in ways they should not have. One of those men was a priest. My relationship with my abusers is complicated by the fact that at the time, I didn't perceive what was happening as abusive. But I can look back now and see that it was. I still don't view myself as a victim, but clearly I am one. My experiences as a victim led me to believe that I could say almost anything on this subject, no matter how outrageous. But I understand that my usual blend of sassy, gay British sarcasm, provocation, and gallows humor might have come across as flippancy. A lack of care for other victims, or even worse, as seems to have been...
Oh, I see. This is him making the apology for the comments. Let me see if I can't find the original thing. Hang on one sec. That's
Take
not
your
what
time.
we want.
I think that...
Here we go. Caught defending
Okay, go ahead.
pedophilia.
Go ahead.
Yeah, found it. Sorry, were you answering a super chat?
No, I was just...
Okay, I'll
trying
answer
to
one very
fill this.
quickly. Green Days, thank you. My favorite is the guy in the background that will continually be loud and laugh at the jokes. Love him. Just talking about me, clearly.
Clearly.
I haven't been talking much about Milo Yiannopoulos because I
Okay. Well, we're now going to be demonetized by this guy. Thank you for that. Where's the clip?
I think he's talking about it. He doesn't...
1928.
Oh my God. Okay, hang on. Okay, I'm going to try one more time. If I fail,
One more
we'll move
time.
on the video he resigned over. Is it just gone? Has it been purged from YouTube? It might have been.
This will be an exercise for the viewer. Dear viewer, if you are watching this and you are not live, take the time to find this clip so you can gain the context.
Yeah. Okay. We'll press on.
Mm.
I'm not seeing it.
Shame Father Michael's dead. He would have liked that. I think if I don't know that it makes me an expert on kids liking dick being raped by a priest, but if you want some comedy lessons afterwards, I'm happy to give you 20 minutes. What was the question? Sorry, I was so bored.
The question was, some would argue that most people are naturally drawn to some sort of faith or belief in a higher power. How would you, Destiny, prevent your society from inevitably becoming a religious society and thus being run by the same organizing faith ideas?
I think it's a bit lazy to say, as people often do, that we now have a kind of alternate sort of progressive religion. I don't think that progressivism really functions like a religion. It's true that when you take God out of things, you don't just sort of, get rid of him in the same way that when you get rid of a king, you don't really get rid of the king. You still are ruled by people that you have no power over. The difference is that in America, you don't know their names because they lurk behind that flag, rubbing their hands and making money off you and getting you addicted to things. You don't know their names, so you can't assassinate them. One reason monarchy is better.
Speaking of making money off of people, gang,
Come
on.
Oh, you jumped on that before
Come on, gang. Let's get you addicted to the Sundick show and show your addictions through Super Chat, where we can parasocially exploit you for gain. That's what we're here for to do at the end of the day. So please, if you have some Super Chats to give, I'd love to read them on screen. Go ahead.
Yeah, and make sure you donate to the Sunday end of things to secure a place among the immortal dead and the eternal worship of our great Lord Cthulhu, Phaton brethren.
Oh, it was about how do you prevent it from sliding in? Yeah, I think it's lazy when people say, "Oh, we've replaced kind of one religion with a progressive religion." It's true that when God moves out, that other things move in. You don't just kind of get rid of it and now everyone's happy and now everyone can just be nice to each other. That yearning that you've acknowledged that we all have has got to be satisfied by something. So if you take the Christian God out, something worse moves in because there isn't anything better than that. There isn't anything better than that for organizing society. There isn't anything better than that for teaching people how to behave to one another. There isn't anything better than that objectively, practically, and empirically. So things do move in, but progressivism of the type that he likes doesn't function like a religion because all religions have one thing in common that his political orthodoxy doesn't, and that's salvation and forgiveness. Because there is no forgiveness for people who are cancelled, whether or not they were responsible for what happened to them and were trying to make sense of an abuse experience, or whether they said something they shouldn't have said.
Hang on. Wait. He's talking to Destiny here. Destiny has literally lost whole channels for stuff like this. He's Vosh has lost stuff for this. Like every single major figure on the left has been something canceled at some point, and they're still in business and they still have a following. That's just factually untrue.
Yeah, I will give him this though, that there is, at least from a certain segment on the right and the left, that will never forgive. But that's not a cancel thing. That's just a human thing. Some people are just.
My mod has found the clip, by the way.
Oh, fair enough. Let's rewind time, gang.
Get that taste of no. I said, just like I said earlier.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Get that taste of no. I said, just like I said earlier. If it weren't for Father Michael, I would have given far less good head. I mean,
there was a real Father Michael.
So much less. You know, he's going to get killed now. But
who was Father Michael?
I'm not. No, I bet.
There's a real dude. I should maybe suck his dick for real.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. I think so. Destiny's comment was actually 100% on point.
Fair enough.
Thank you, possibly Nell, for the €2. I'm addicted to suffering. Don't stop. Ugh.
There's no back. There's no way back. There's no forgiveness. There's no redemption. And that's the thing that all religions, except for this orthodoxy, seem to have in common. So I don't think it's. I think it's a bit lazy to say that one religion gets replaced by another. But it is definitely true that you cannot simply chop off the top of the pyramid and expect everything to be fine. Something worse will slither its way up there, and it has.
A weird metaphor, but okay.
Very
I will
weird
say that there. Well, yes, I wouldn't say the left is a religion or ideologies are the same as religions. There's distinct
We don't even need to say the
differences.
left. We're talking about Destiny in particular here.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
Like he's like liberal, centrist, whatever.
Sure.
Um,
There
yeah.
is this kind of on all sides of the political spectrum religious thinking. What I mean by that is kind of a faith in your ideology that transcends the evidence of eyes and ears and senses, and we tend to make our conclusions and then reason our way backwards. And justify those conclusions. And I consider that a very religious way of thinking. Maybe I'm using bad terms here, but that's my thought.
Well, we can accept it for argument's sake.
Sure.
I don't know. Like, definitely, like for the past, like, let's say 10 or so years, it was absolutely the case that like the mildest faux pas could actually ruin a public career.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the case anymore. I think what happened was, with some exceptions, right? If somebody's caught in like an actual like sexual abuse scandal,
sure, right? Like there's
Yeah.
some things you can do where, yeah, fair enough, right?
Yeah.
But
I think generally though, I think what's happened is people have weaponized the perception that you can't bounce back from certain types of faux pas, and we've kind of come around to the point where we recognize that if somebody just persists and they keep at it, they won't actually they don't actually have to be done away with in order to save whatever platform is platforming them or whatever company they represent, or what have you. Like case in point, like the 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜 thing, that's not going to result in 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔 losing her position. I would be very surprised.
it will if okay. So there's a proper way to deal with it that will help you, and then there is the way that some people like to deal with it that I think is a mistake. So the best practice, in my opinion, is if you find yourself in these kinds of situations, shut the fuck up, go quiet, go silent.
Oh, God,
People
yeah.
will forget about you, and they'll go on to the next thing, right? And then you can quietly come back and carry on. But people get defensive, people want to fight, people want to defend their honor, but that is a mistake by and large, right? Because you were keeping it in people's minds, you were keeping it in the attention, and yeah, like I said, if you just go dark for a little bit, shut the fuck up, people will move on and they'll forget about it. So.
Yeah, I'm banking on that for running this for a few weeks.
Fair enough.
Thank you guys so much. Let's give everybody, both of them, a round of applause, please. Now we're going to move into the audience Q&A. So if you'd like to ask a question, line up behind me. We'll have somebody hold a mic here, and you're allowed to ask one question. And we'll have probably about 30 minutes this. If we want to go a little longer, we can, but we'll try to keep it to 30 minutes. Yeah, we'll just need 1 minute to set up the camera, and then we'll be good to go.
Oh, while we wait, gang.
Yeah.
Gang. 𝕻𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜 versus 𝕵𝖎𝖎. It's not 100% going to happen. But 𝕻𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔 has responded, and we are talking about it.
All right, so in
The Tiger
Is that
King.
is that gonna be running on your channel?
Yeah. We will have a guest moderator for it. But again, it's not sure yet. It's not for certain, right?
Oh, so you're getting cucked out of the moderation, or you're still
No, I agreed. Like we're getting a fucking professional moderator to do this. This is me and 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙𝖚's decision, right? Like
interesting.
It's I forget her name, but she is a professional at this. Has done it at the highest levels, right? A journalist, someone who does it for a living. Not that I don't do it for a living, right? But different levels. But like I said, we don't know yet. We'll see, right? There's a lot of obstacles, but the first obstacle, and I think the hardest obstacle, is out of the way. They have contacted us, and we are talking. So, yeah.
That's well done there, I suppose. Thank you, 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜, President Choice Day. Is that a fucking superstore joke? Oh my god.
Christian nationalist,
I'm ashamed enough of that to almost want to refund you.
or like theocratic U.S., what would kind of the government policy on smoking indoors be? Is that like permitted?
There's something odd about smoking. Smoking's the only thing that's bad for you that the government doesn't promote.
See, that's kind of what
Murking?
Yeah, there's something up with that.
No,
I feel
smoking.
Like maybe like on the
you
low,
pronounce it as
smoking's
smirking.
really good for you, and they just don't want us to know. And cancer comes from like the TV or something, because there's no
onto something, yeah.
There's something, whatever, you know.
No,
there's
Hey,
it's
hey,
bad
hey.
vibes or the devils or something, but
Cancer does come from the TV, and you all love it and you all fucking know it. So remember, super chat me and Whick if you like what we're doing.
there's something weird about the fact that smoking's the only thing that kills you that the government doesn't subsidize and encourage.
See, yeah, I've always found that to be kind of questionable.
I think smoking is extremely based, and
Oh, yeah.
I can tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, certainly in my faith tradition, the early church fathers were very enthusiastic about alcohol, in moderation, of course, although moderation had a slightly different meaning in the 1200s. So I think they would be lighting up the Marlboro right next to you.
All right, well, awesome. Destin, do you have any sort of opinion on that, or?
I kind of like smoking being banned from indoors. I'm going to be honest.
Fair
Somebody
enough.
that is
I
30.
didn't live it. I didn't live it. So.
As somebody that's 34, the older people in here will remember for restaurants we had no smoking sections. They definitely didn't work. I don't mind people smoking, I guess, like outside if they want to smoke, but having to share spaces with just disgusting cigarette smoke, like constantly wafting through the air, especially if you've got kids around and stuff, I think it's really disgusting. So I'm glad it's gone from inside.
You sort of get used to it, though. I mean, the only reason to visit Germany after 1945, really, is the fact that you can smoke while you're having a coffee.
There's a lot of drugs you can get used to, but I don't know if you're a good argument in favor of that.
I'm not saying that there's, there are certain things that you can't necessarily argue from first principles convincingly, but nonetheless seem to work better, like monarchy and smoking.
All right, well, fair enough. Thank you, guys.
Hi,
I clawed one person back, you see.
I'm so glad someone brought up smoking because I really needed a Marlboro Red coming in here, and I was like, God, okay.
It's hardcore. It's hardcore. I'm a Newport Lights guy.
Okay, right.
Smoke for the man you want, as
From
was.
John, maybe. You know. But I wanted to ask you, Milo. It's a question on speech, and the first one was, what happened to Make America Hate Again? I was looking forward to that book. I was telling all my friends and family about it, and then it didn't come out.
I kept getting employed by people, but I've written most of it, and I think it's become actually more urgent than ever.
He kept needing to work at Starbucks after the Breitbart job.
Hey, keep it going. I gotta do a thing real quick. I will be right back.
Take your time.
It fails to make this distinction.
Thank you, 𝕬𝖎 for the $9.99. Much appreciated.
Probably on purpose.
Remember, Whick is derelict. He's slacking off. If you want to support the stream, donate to Sunday. Only my channel grants the immortality of the soul to those who worship our dark lord who dreams dead under the ocean. It's dead Cthulhu. No. Different. I'm not talking about the Germans. Different eldritch god.
Apologies.
A lot of the time, you'll hear Christians.
You won't be forgiven, but we will, however,
okay.
allow you to live for the remainder of this stream.
Sometimes say, hate the sin and love the sinner. What they mean by that is that people are what they do. People are their conscious choices.
What they mean by that is that it's absolutely okay to be prejudiced towards gay people as long as you abstract the prejudice away from the person. Because
Prejudice is, like, I'm being serious here. Being prejudiced is based. But don't be prejudiced against immutable characteristics. Be prejudiced against dumbasses and other things like that.
Speaking of being prejudiced against dumbasses, that giant purple square that is your appearance right now, I don't think that's an immutable characteristic.
Oh, it's camera's on my end.
Really? I don't believe you. I think
you see the camera with the red arrow. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I think you were trying to double dip and get some OnlyFans stuff down while not breaking YouTube.
Yo, if you guys wanted me to open an OnlyFans, if you give me enough super chats, I'll do that. So let's get it going, gang.
If you give me enough super chats. No, there's a limit. No, never mind. Whick got
Okay,
5, so
maybe I
carry
should
you
do it this.
damn straight.
If you don't give me enough super chats, I will start an OnlyFans. Will that help motivate you all? Anyway.
Okay, chat. If I don't get enough super chats on my end, I will start an OnlyFans for Whick. That doesn't work.
Right? So we shouldn't hate people because they were born a particular ethnicity or gender or whatever, obviously, unless they're French. But what we should instead do is judge them by what they choose to do, right? So people are their actions. And psychology is now catching up with religion. It's, there's no gay men on forms anymore. It's men who have sex with men. So psychology is kind of catching up with this idea that we are what we choose to do. We can hate what people do, the choices they make, and the evil that they perpetuate.
Hang on.
Without
Wait a minute.
hating...
No. That's because men who have sex with men sometimes don't only have sex with men. They just also have sex with men. So pan people or bi people or bi-curious straight people occasionally do have sex with men. That's not psychology recognizing that we are what we do. That's not a psychological statement. Thank you, Ryan Schmidt. Here's $2 for Hole. Well, I can't deliver, unfortunately, because Whick, coward that he is, had his virtual camera off when that was apparently available. So
them as human beings, as children of God, and I think it's become more urgent than ever that we I think rehabilitate hate, and I definitely have been encouraged to get that bloody project
endorse
finished,
any of this, by the way.
because I think it's more urgently needed
Capitalism
than ever.
made me
We
do
ought
it.
to be able to look at something abhorrent and say, I hate it. I hate it powerfully. I hate it passionately. I hate it with every fiber of my being, and I'll fight it, and I'll stop it, and I'll die for it. I'll die to get rid of it. The kind of lifestyle he leads, is the sort of thing that I think it's okay to hate. It's a conscious choice that hurts everyone, that leaves lives ruined, you can see the results. That I think it's okay to hate, although I am commanded to love him as, a fellow man, as a Christian, which,
So by what metric are you able to say that? Are you a Christian nationalist or not? This doesn't make any sense.
I don't know anymore. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where we are. I don't know what the question even was. I'm not sure, right? So,
Rude Mudcrab, thank you for the 5. I think that's not Australian, because Australian's an AU. That's an A. But thank you for the 5 something. Thank you for the 5 fictional D&D gold. For you to send Destiny a D pick and say welcome to the Orbiters Club. I will choose to be liberal with my interpretation of what a D pick is. You also didn't say it has to be of me, even if we were not liberal with that definition.
That brought me to the substance of what I wanted to ask you.
Oh, just on a real quick thing, because you didn't really answer that question. If you want to know what his next
Yo, I'm loving the mullet.
Actually writes them.
I have to believe Milo writes them. I'm a big fan, and they're all fabulous. Anyway.
It's like the Cowardly Lion. It's beautiful.
I think, given that I write about 10,000 words a week on Telegram, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that I might throw a book together once every 2.5 years, which is roughly when I get around to doing them. But you tried.
And it's a great Telegram, almost better than Tucker. Okay, it is better than Tucker. But what I wanted to get to is with blasphemy.
You know what he looks like? You know who he looks like exactly? He looks like a slightly narrower, more mullety version of, what's his name from The Evil Dead?
Ash?
Yeah.
Ash Ketchum.
Look at his... Not Ash Ketchum.
Yeah, Ash
Pokemon.
Ketchum was Pokemon, but yeah.
But
I
Ash.
don't know his last name. Ash, right?
He's from... No, he directed Spider-Man. Fuck, what's his name? The 3 Spider-Man movies. Come on, you know this.
I don't know. Fucking... Okay, you want to stump me on things? Pop culture is...
Sam Raimi.
There you
That's
go.
it. Yeah. Look at his bone structure. It's identical.
Yeah.
Chat, shut up. Just because I don't know... Ash Ketchum was a mistake. I disavow. Don't judge me for it. My chat's molding.
You sit there with an action figure on your shelf, and you don't even know.
I don't even know what this action figure is. Someone told me once. This is a present from my nephew. My nephew got me this for Christmas, and I didn't know what to do with it.
Is that Shredder?
No, it's a transformer of some sort. I don't know.
There were Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Transformer toys.
No, but it's got the Transformer symbol. See, right? So it's an actual Transformer.
I don't know then. Hang on. Transformer Samurai.
Yeah,
Let's
I don't
find
know
out.
which one. Yeah.
I think it's Drift.
People are saying it's Blue Beetle. Maybe.
Blue Beetle. Hang
don't
on.
know.
No, we need to find this out. This will not stand. Blue
Yeah.
Beetle.
Muda, it definitely is a transformer. I'm telling you, right here. Like, look.
No,
it's
no,
got
no,
the
no, no.
symbol.
No, Blue Beetle's blue, but Drift has the samurai helmet. So I think it's Drift. It's just like the more recent iteration of Drift is red, not blue. Yeah, as blue
Maybe.
samurai helicopter mode. That's Drift. I'm sure
This
of it.
doesn't even have a helicopter mode. Like, it's kind of a shitty toy, to be honest with you.
Your nephew gave that to you, sir. How
This
dare
is
you?
why
Where is your
it's
heart?
a fucking like symbol on my stream. It's more regular than even I. Okay, it's my most regular guest. So it's there, and anytime my nephew
Bruce
should never.
Campbell, not Sam Raimi. Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Hang
fair
on.
enough.
Wait. So what does Sam Raimi look like? Do they just look similar?
Oh.
No, Sam Raimi doesn't look anything. No, it's Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell's just in the Spider-Man movies. Oh, that's freaking weird. Yeah, Bruce Campbell. Raimi was the director. I thought they were the same for some reason. Anyways.
We're learning a lot today, gang.
Blasphemy laws, the proper way to have a First Amendment, but also keep it from corrupting itself.
Oh, Sam Raimi directed Evil Dead. That makes sense.
Yes, I think you needed a
Milo knows.
To remind people what it is that keeps everything held together. And I think if somebody goes out repeatedly, deliberately, blaspheming the name of our Lord,
biblically,
you should
awesomely.
expect to have your tongue cut out or worse.
You won't understand that
because that's the thing that keeps everything together. In just the way that Americans get very touchy when flags, graze the floor and stuff like that. It's perfectly reasonable anxiety to have.
We don't cut people's tongues out for it.
Proxy
Jeez.
for the things that really matter. I think it's perfectly reasonable to have those things sacrosanct, and America does. It just picks stupid shit instead of the right things.
Thank you.
Hello. So Milo, you have identified yourself as an ex-gay, and you have also advocated for conversion therapy.
Ex-gay sounds cooler than it is.
Making it to where it is more, I guess,
I do remember the tech.
acceptable to the media, or presenting a more positive light of conversion.
I don't much care if journalists like it or not. I just want to save souls, but go on.
Yeah. So I just wanted to know how you planned on making it to be seen as more positive in the media, just because a lot of studies have shown that conversion therapy is traumatic for...
No, they haven't. If you recall, even the most left-wing... that's ridiculous. I mean, okay, the strongest argument you have is that Biden, the nuclear tranny, the one whose job was dealing
Man,
with...
wow, just dropping the slurs.
Who used to steal luggage from
Jeez Louise. For someone who's just talking about cutting people's tongues out for blasphemy, he's sure loose with his.
Running people through. He looks like the light of the mild.
Like, is he
light
having
of
eye
dusk.
problems? Like he's been like this the whole time. He's like,
He looks like someone who has drunk to a point where the mild evening light of like 8 p.m. is just like burning into his corneas.
Was it a Nairobi woman? What was she? A fashion designer. That tranny your first clue was he's wearing women's clothes. Maybe not somebody you want around nuclear material. Your strongest argument is he went through conversion therapy, but of course on film he said it worked and he liked it. So the testimony...
Oh, what's going on here? Ooh, what's happening?
is a bit unreliable in this area, and I think most of the reason for that...
is your internet cutting out or some stuff? How am I on my end? Am I cutting out?
You're getting a little choppy. I don't know what's going on here. Hang on one
this
sec.
is on your end.
This might be on my end. Shoot. YouTube has seen that the super chats have dried up a little bit.
Yeah.
And,
dang, we
and
gotta
it's throttling the internet as a result.
Re-up. If you like this content, you have to fund it. Okay, we can't do this for
everyone
free.
make sure that there aren't like a bunch of devices on, because that might be. Yeah, we are buffering apparently. Sorry about that, fellas. Cole G for the 20 US. Thank you. So is Milo accounts as formerly gay?
Yo,
That's
look,
like
they're
bursting
getting
your head
20
above.
bucks. What are we getting, gang? Come on, Drop the dollars. Drop the dollars. The USD or the Canadian
That's
monies,
like-
I guess.
That's like bursting your head. I'm gonna see if turning off Resident Evil helps. I wonder if that's like affecting my processing power. Oh, I think that did it. I think that's a part of Resident Evil 4. Oh my god.
Oh, you'll have to actually engage with the show.
Oh fuck.
I know it's crazy. I always fiddle with things. Like I got these nail clippers. I don't actually. And I got scissors. I just like to fiddle. I don't know.
Okay, Whick doesn't clip his nails. The new lore just dropped. So is Milo accounts formula gay? That's like bursting your head above water at a all-male hot tub party and screaming, "I'm cured! Now time me, boys. Let's see how long I can stay straight." Giggle, gibble, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what that last part was, but yeah. Okay.
Is that it doesn't work all the time. And the majority of, it doesn't work most of the time actually. The best that most people can hope for is celibacy. And I think that disappointment is what drives a lot of the negative testimony afterwards. I think that it works in conversion therapy's favor that it's hated. And if you find it ridiculous for me to say that, that it's a good thing that works, there isn't a person in this room who can honestly say, the press treated Donald Trump totally fairly in 2016.
What's this have to do with conversion therapy?
On the other side.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Whick. I'm as stumped as you are.
Everybody now agrees, as sure as they agree on the color of the sky.
Right.
Well, the first,
but
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. The first time that something was given that treatment, the treatment that Trump's had, was in the first episode of political correctness in the 1990s. So in the 1990s, there was a sort of brief flash of political correctness that was quite quickly put down by the counterculture. It came back with a vengeance later. We now live in it. But in that first brief flash of political correctness, that's when you had the old ladies with the big hair on TV saying that Marilyn Manson causes massacres at school, which I find just as ridiculous as people who say that video games cause school shooters, just as ridiculous as people who say that.
Thank you.
Well, I'm trying to.
Oh, please.
Not everything has a two-word answer.
Yeah, but not everything has a 2,000-word answer either. If you can't answer it in like a couple sentences, right? Just say I don't know.
You have to buy the book. You have to. I don't know. 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜. Hat in hand, $5 for you to unblock me on Twitter. I'll tell you what, 3 more of those, you got a deal.
Boom.
I want to know how you plan on.
Well, if you knew the answer, you wouldn't be asking me.
Well, yeah, but
I think we're done. Thank you.
In circles.
Hi. So Destiny, I just want to say I'm a longtime viewer and fan.
Hey, what's up?
Nice to see you in person. As far as all the shit you give about your wife, threesomes are base, dog. So have your fun. Anyways, to my question. You guys seem to be implying that under Christian nationalism things would get better. Well, he does. Things get better. I assume that means like crime and things like that. How do you reconcile that with the fact that a lot of the prison population is very low atheist counts and dominantly Christian, and a lot of countries like Japan and over in Europe are less religious, and they seem to be more pleasant places to live. So if either of you guys have something to on that, I'd love to hear.
Hang on, very quickly. $15 for block armor. That I will give you block armor, but that block armor, my friend Slobodan, has an endurance meter. So take care. Fair enough.
Hey, I should start blocking people. This is a good racket you got going.
I know,
think that
right?
religion probably has a really complicated
I'm gonna block all of
interaction
you.
with a person's life in a way that could either predispose you towards crime or could not.
13,000
predispose
subs, all of
predispose
you
against
paying
crime, people
$15
that
a
factor
stream?
against crime.
Damn.
So, for instance, if you grew up in a religious family where religion is like a centerpiece of the family, but it's also built out to where you've got like a strong mother and father or 2 parents in the household, you've got like a good community of people that also worship. Like in these types of situations, I'm sure that religion probably functions as some kind of protective factor against committing crime and whatnot. But if you look at prison populations, where people go and they eventually convert, or a lot of people can be violent and still wear a rosary, which you're not supposed to do, or wear a chain or something that has a cross on it. I think sometimes you can scapegoat religion to do horrible things. I think that it's probably just depends on your engagement with your religion. You know, I kind of view it as an instrument, a tool. You can either do good things through it, like the unbelievable amount of charitable givings and community involvement that churches have, or you can do horrible things with it, like people flying into buildings or going on mass shootings or, you know, what have you.
Did you say you're not supposed to wear rosaries?
What?
Have you never been to Italy?
No, but I was a Catholic
No, you
for
haven't.
like
Okay.
16 years, and wearing a rosary was
very
a
good.
big no-no. We got in big trouble in school when we did that. But
The answer to your question is race. The reason that there's no crime in Japan is it's entirely racially homogenous and wealthy.
I'm surprised by two things of that. Is that true?
I know I'm not a Catholic. Never was.
I'm gonna take his word. First of all, I didn't realize Destiny was a Catholic for 16 years. That's interesting. But
Well, he was
secondly,
Cuban, right? And Hispanic, like that kind of the South American generally tends
It's
to be.
just it's
Catholic.
odd because rosaries are literally like necklaces often. So that, not always, but frequently, like they're in the form of like you would. wear those.
Rosary, as I understood it, was a beads, right? Rosary beads, and you pray the rosary. So you take a bead, you make a prayer. That's how I understand it. Again, not a Catholic. Please don't.
It is,
Yeah.
because you track like the number of Hail Marys on the
Mhm.
beads, but like it's typically in like a long necklace form, and it's sort of intended to be worn. Maybe it's different in.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the answer. The reason that there's a lot of crime in this country is that America messed up emancipation. I think we know. But there's a reason for that. There's a reason. Well, let me get to it. You can clip the good thing.
Yo, the
In it.
audience probably needs to calm down a little bit. I like it. It's funny, but as if I was the host of this, I would be escorting that gentleman out.
I don't think Uncensored America is going to be able to do that. I mean, that'd be funny on one level. But yeah.
All right. This country messed up emancipation. What happened in the UK was that, and it feels gruesome to us now to speak in these terms, but property owners, sorry to say, were compensated for their losses. To put it, in
How?
Those terms, in a sense, emancipation in Europe was a kind of eminent domain, where even if people wanted to grumble about it, they couldn't really say too much because they had got the market value for their house so the railway could be built. In America, they dragged it on for generations. They didn't do that, and then through a combination of incompetence and malice, blacks and whites were set against each other in this country, with the result that there is now a permanently grievance-focused 13% of the population. I mean, maybe 1% of the black Americans don't hate everything and everyone, but the rest of them are predisposed toward antisocial behaviors because they were never welcomed into the pact. They were never properly welcomed into the American deal. They were never properly given a seat at the table, and they were never properly welcomed in, with the result that they immediately, after emancipation, because emancipation was messed up, started voting with their race. They never were welcomed into the American deal, into the pact. They never bought into the values, and they never participated in the process of being American citizens. So they didn't feel bound by the obligations that other Americans.
I lost the plot here. Is he talking about black Americans? Who's he talking about?
Look, he's trying to talk about how emancipation was messed up in America, and I mean, sure, right? But I don't know where he's going, and I don't know why he's going there. The question was about crime, if I remember correctly. The question was about crime and if it's reduced under religion or not. And here we are talking about emancipation and racial justice. So.
Thank you, Gunsmoke, for the $4.99. I'm usually a Whick fan, but Sunday is growing on me. Also love that he's a fellow Columbophile. Oh
gang,
dear.
Wow, am I losing? Am I losing the Whick vote? Come on, gang, come on, let's get those $5 and those $10 donations to me as well. Sundick, okay? Solidarity. Oh, Gunsmoke, Whick is the top G. $5 says he is. Yes, true.
For now.
Had towards one another, like jury trials should be based on the facts and not on whether he's black. So as a result of things that were done to them a very long time ago, black America is now in a situation where there's sort of permanently petulant child constantly lashing out at a mixture of real and imagined grievances. And the answer to your question about crime is simply that. It's race. It's got nothing to do with religion.
Just an interesting addition to that. Two researchers, Whitehead and Perry, I didn't know the stat would come in handy, but black Americans are actually the largest ethnic group in the United States to support some form of Christian nationalism, which I think is really funny after all of that.
Yeah, and there are reasons for.
Okay. Okay, I see where you're going with that. All right.
For that, I mean, you've got people who look. It's mostly to do with where black people were and who was there too. So in the South, whether it's
do you know why black people for a very long time were in North America? I'll give you a hint. It's not because they migrated there of their own volition.
True.
You know who assisted in that not voluntary migration?
Milo. He went back in time.
Exactly.
Started it all.
Georgia, which is traditionally English, or Tennessee, which is more Scots-Irish. You've got more enthusiastic and more Anglican and more religion that stuck more from basically the Anglosphere versus some of the Dutch places. There's a very good book called American Nations, which kind of explains, by Colin Woodard, that sort of explains the different character of the various chunks of America. The main reason Black America it remains somewhat religious, although the church going doesn't necessarily translate into behavior or social attitudes these days.
But isn't that wait, stop.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that the main thrust of his argument, is that we have moved away from the rituals and Christian practices of the past, therefore we are now more hedonistic, worse society. But then here he is saying, well, church attendance and Christian practices don't necessarily equate into change of behaviors. He's just destroyed his own his own argument. Dusty didn't have to say fuck all. He just Milo wiped the floor with Milo right there. Boom. End of that. That's it, right? Like, I don't know. Tulu, thank you for the $10. Appreciate you.
Did Milo wipe the floor with Milo though? I don't think Milo's actually on this stage. I think he's somewhere. I think he's somewhere else.
I was imagining getting a sword thrust through him, right? I don't know.
Utterly bonkers, because they don't go to preachers who tell them about God. They're Pentecostals or Crystal Methodists or some other kind of nonsense.
They're the wrong kind of Christian.
The reason that they're not behaving as Christians is because they're not really Christians. But the main reason that they are religious at all is just where they were and how they were when everything came to an end.
The funniest thing is I actually just made that up. I was seeing if he would actually try to talk his way through
Damn!
it. Totally
Damn! Okay, I believed it too. I was like, oh, okay, makes sense. Wow, so you got me.
Religiosity of Black Americans. Let's take a look. I'm a little bit curious here. There are definitely stats on this. Most Black worshippers attend predominantly Black congregations. Okay, that's within the Black community. Let's see. Oh, this is determining of Black Christians which ones go to all Black congregations or mixed. Religious belief among Black Americans, Pew Research. Here, let me just pull this up on screen so I'm not wasting your time. Most Black Americans say religion is very important to them. About 6 in 10 Black adults say religion is very important in their lives. Another 21% say it is somewhat important, while smaller shares say it's not. So there you go. So he was still correct. He was just bullshitting that he knew about it. Which is fine. Fair play.
Thanks, Milo.
Thank you both.
It doesn't surprise me for a very simple reason, which is that it was Black voters who resisted the proposition in California about gay marriage. It's not a ridiculous thing. It's not a gotcha to say that blacks are socially conservative. You can make some of the same arguments about Hispanics. Now, the kind of Catholicism they practice is all mixed up with the hoodoo, voodoo, bruja nonsense. But it's not in any way a ridiculous thing to say, given that in California, of all places, it was Black voters who stopped gay marriage passing. I mean, it's just not a particularly peculiar thing to say. Wouldn't surprise me at all. In fact, one of the reasons that they have to work so hard to get Black people into universities is that they don't teach anything that Black people actually care about, and one of those is God.
What else do they not care about?
Property rights, bicycle chains, I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, you're really selling it, Milo.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure.
What happens when you die?
That's a good question.
It's a great question. I'd like an answer.
You might find out soon if this event carries on its current trajectory.
Well, what?
I'm feeling that one.
That's a weird.
I just wanna
I might die if I don't get more super chats, gang. And you know what happens when I die? You don't get this content. That's what happens when I die. Do you want me to die?
We don't do the Sundick show anymore.
True.
You all have to subscribe to President Sunday in advance of Whick
that's
dying.
perverse
in order to continue to get
incentives.
this.
Okay, gang. No, we will be doing this even when I am dead in the ground. But what happens when a celebrity dies? We tweet about it, and then we say thoughts and prayers, and then we go about our day. That's all we do.
I'm gonna make a Muppet in your likeness. I'm just gonna hold it up.
Muppet just like Kermit. Right?
Exactly.
Personal opinion.
I have no idea, to be honest. It's a thing I don't concern myself with. The way that I view it is that like we've got one life on this planet. We've got a bunch of people on this planet. There's going to be people that are come after us. I feel like it's good to kind of like put all your efforts into making this life as good as you can for yourself and the people around you. If you want to fixate on like an afterlife or wonder what comes after, I think that's fine. But don't make too many sacrifices for like a guaranteed life here for a hypothetical, afterlife tomorrow.
In all fairness,
I think we can
had
all
no
see the
idea
results.
who you were when I came here, so just out of curiosity, are you an atheist?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
What is nothing?
That's a
What is
very
that?
challenging question.
A lot of people I have talked to about it say that nothingness is black, right? But that's something, isn't it?
So the challenge of the question is actually in the words that you use to ask the question betray like how complicated a question is. So for instance, when you say, what is it like to experience nothingness? Or what is a thing? Like what is it? What is
It's actually not as complicated as he's talking about. You wouldn't predicate nothingness upon an experience. So nothingness isn't an experience.
Nothingness is the value of this stream. Watching this debate. Not the stream. The stream's great, but the debate itself. Nothingness is the value of the debate itself. Go ahead.
Nothingness. Well, the question presupposes a subject that can observe the nothingness.
Oh,
you
yeah,
ask what
okay,
is
so he's
something,
right,
You're
yeah.
saying, what is it like to observe something? Or what is it like for somebody to observe something? But obviously, if there's nothing, there's not an observer there to observe it. So the question is a bit meaningless. I can't answer what it's like for somebody not to exist and then for that non-existent person's subjective experience of nothingness to be. Like, there's no way for me to, like, meaningfully answer the question.
There's no way for any of us to.
Austin Stillwell with $10. I still have no idea what Christian nationalism is. Just real quick, let me get my bag. Austin Stillwell for $10. I still have no idea what Christian nationalism is, let alone how it would function. I mean, that's fair. They didn't even touch on that.
Well, what Christian nationalism is somebody like Milo for some reason will kill you if you're not the right kind of Christian or you're not ex-gay enough. I suppose. I don't know what. Yeah.
He went like 3 seconds.
Hasn't even been any mention of like governing structures or anything except a hand-waved comment about how monarchy is better. No argument as to why, which would have been interesting, but
Seconds without talking, so
don't people equate nothingness and black because of darkness and you can't see things at night? It's pretty simple, isn't it?
It's who? What? Sorry. Okay.
no.
Anyway,
They equate nothingness with blackness because your eyes are closed when you're dead and you can't see jack. Bucko?
It's the same reason that up and down have the associations they do with good and evil, because things grow up and die down. It's pretty simple, right?
Destiny, both of you guys have been calling each other terrible names and like being real rude to each
called
other.
him names.
It's
To be clear, only in retaliation to him. I came here to play nice tonight. I didn't know he was going to be.
You didn't call him names. You went after his wife and his
And
kid.
Yeah, that's a little different. I mean, I think names were called too, but he also basically said his wife was a, well, I won't repeat it, but you all heard it, right? So.
Such a degenerate.
No,
well, I know he's a degenerate.
By the way, what I know nothing about Melina, but what I have heard is that she is a lovely person.
I've never met
You
her.
Not in these ways.
didn't. No, you didn't.
I just want both
I
of
didn't
you
call
to
him any
know.
names. It's his behavior I don't like. It's
Well,
the
yeah,
way
yeah.
that he
I'm
passes
sorry, go
his
ahead.
wife
It's the last
around.
time I'm sharing a stage with this clown. Go ahead.
Okay, that's fine.
Well,
I guess that
No more charitable donations to this guy. We can leave that to the 5,000 view ministry
What?
stuff he does on YouTube now.
All right,
What were you saying?
But
Everyone-
fellas, the Hobbiton is falling behind. Hobbiton is going to go into a recession soon. That's the one, isn't it? Give them some love too. We are way too far ahead.
You're about to lap me. We can't let this happen. Come Come on, Team Whick. Let's go. Let's get some money here. Let's fill my pockets. Let's help me experience what it's like to be a big boy on YouTube.
They're very small pockets. Hobbits are very short folk. It won't take much.
I'm suffering from a handicap right now because I can't stream this on Twitch, which is where half of my viewer count is, right? So come on, just help me out.
Touche.
Give me a thing.
Saved.
Oh,
the
thank
Lord
you.
gave his only son that each one of us can be saved. That's
Thank
all
you,
I have
sir.
to say.
Hallelujah.
And it's precisely that, although I intensely and feverishly despise your life choices, that's precisely the difference between us, because I will go home and pray for you, and you will go home and...
Well, he didn't
bitch
insult your
about me on the
wife
internet,
or
and
your
that's
kid or your
exactly the difference
family.
You were literally complaining about me in the
Exactly the difference
bathroom
between
30
us.
minutes ago, Milo. We can see your Telegram. It's public. You know that, right?
What are you talking about? I just separated the des from the tiny. The
Uh-huh.
des type, that's all I did. Was I complaining from the bathroom?
Milo, if Christianity is what's going to save us from these mass shootings,
$5 from 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙. I'll give it to you, Wick. These mind games you've started to work on me. Damn you. My evil plot. It comes to fruition. I planted the seeds, and it is growing.
why do we have so many Christian mass shooters?
Who are the Christian mass shooters? Who? Name one.
The University of Texas shooting, it was a Catholic.
Okay, so...
We didn't think you'd actually have an example.
I have a list.
Neither did I, because the two problems with this, okay? We live in a Christian country and in a Christian tradition, so everybody kind of like casually calls themselves something, regardless of how committed they were. And I think I heard somebody say, where did he go to
Hey,
Mass? And I think
pause it for a moment. Someone asked a very important question.
Who goes and listens to the gospel in church?
Let's hear it.
Your super chat isn't working. How else can you support me? There's very specific ways. First of all, just simply being a viewer supports me plenty. Portland is burning with the $5 says, why are all the other Wico fans so poor and or stingy? Because I'm the man of the people. We, the poor, huddled masses, yearn for my wisdom, and we accept all people, not only the rich squids, right? So we accept all kinds. But to answer your question, C.S. Brooks, you can go to my Twitch page. On my Twitch page, you can donate there through gift subs or bits. You can do that even when I'm offline. And my Twitch page is at twitch.tv/WhickTV. WhickTV, all one word. That's how you can do it. Thank you.
And if you want to support my channel, Patreon is the ideal way to go. YouTube takes a horrendous cut of everything you donate here. It is very much appreciated nonetheless. However, I also offer perks on my channel that I can't offer here, because unfortunately YouTube doesn't have a built-in merch system yet, which they absolutely should.
Every Sunday? Pretty sure it wasn't. Everybody kind of like loosely calls themselves Christians in Christian countries, at least until very recently. But aren't there more obvious common denominators between all these shooters than religion? For instance, antidepressant drugs. For instance, ready access to firearms. For instance, maybe...
Look, I mean, he's not wrong about the ready access to firearms. I mean, he's not wrong.
No, it's not the bigotry or the xenophobia or the religiosity or whatever. It's the Prozac. That's what's doing it.
I just haven't decided yet if I want Wick to succeed or not. Well, I want you to succeed, dear Eli. So Eli B, it's up to you, right? Whether you want to reciprocate or not. But carry on, please.
Chat, Wick's chat and my chat. It is through adversity that we grow and increase in strength. Therefore, if you want Wick to become a better streamer, you should donate to me. And his envy will drive
race
him.
And their gender. There's stuff that's like
I'm 39.
much more of them have in common. Way before you get to Christianity, no? Like 7 things they have in common, more than they have Christianity in common, don't you think?
The demographics follow the demographics of the United States. So I don't think there's a common denominator.
So what?
I don't think there's a common denominator between race, gender, whatever.
No, I say the demographics have nothing to do with whether someone's on prescription drugs or not.
What? How many mass shooters were on prescription drugs?
Literally all of them.
No.
Aside from yeah. I mean,
No.
you can't name.
Look. Milo, to his credit, I guarantee you, is not on prescription drugs, whatever it is that he's on here tonight.
True.
That wasn't on something. I mean, I don't have the list with me. I can certainly pull it up if you want. Every mass shooter has been on something.
That is false.
Dylan-
Also, I think
Dylan
it's
Roof was
disgusting
on
that
it.
you came here to our state talking about our children that died in a mass shooting
Ooh,
as
cooking
a
'em.
political point. That is absolutely vile.
I
of you.
live here. I live here, and I go to church here.
Is it living though? I mean, look at you, man.
Damn.
Thank you, 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜 for the $10. Replace the generic YouTube star icon of squids for channel members and give us custom emotes. That is a swell idea. I'm going to do exactly that after stream today. Thank you for that.
Excuse me, ma'am. So pipe down, because I, as a resident of, as I have just as much.
Hey, I think you need to pipe.
Excuse me, I have just as
pipe down.
As somebody who lives here, I have just as much standing as you do to talk about the dangers in churches and schools, because I go to church every Sunday. Do you? Because if you don't, I'm at more risk than you are.
No, you aren't.
No, you aren't. What
you are not.
Why am I not at more risk than you are? Can I have an argument instead of petulance? No, I can't. You're leaving. Okay, very good.
Where was the
Ooh,
petulance?
yeah. She started strong, but he kind of hit back.
Imitation. No, you aren't. That's petulance.
I'm talking.
Then please, where do you go to church, Mom?
I don't go to church.
No, you don't. So, if the
where do you go to church, Whick? You asked for super chats on the stream. Where the fuck do you go to church?
I don't go.
Oh my God.
But where you should come to church is at the Sunday show, where you can worship with donations and dollars, right? We will pass a hat around and pass a plate around, and we won't get you to God, but we will get you to the light of understanding, the revelations that we will put upon you, the sights that we will show you. We have such sights to show you, my friends.
Amen.
shootings have happened like quite a lot in churches and synagogues lately, right? Whether it's a right winger, a left winger, they're black, they're white, whether they're targeting Christians, they're targeting Jews. It seems to happen quite a lot in places of religious worship lately. Do you go to synagogue or temple?
No, but
do you go to a mosque?
Do you go to school?
Do you
because
go
it happens at schools a lot.
Yeah, I'm in one now, but you evidently didn't go here.
I do. I
Wait, are
grew
we in a
up in
school or are we
Tennessee.
in a convention center right now?
The school of life.
I thought we were at a university.
The answer to your question is go to Wikipedia.
Did they
look
not
up
let
no
us on
true
the university?
Scotsman, okay? All the Christian shooters that were mass shooters weren't real Christians, okay? Apparently that's the answer.
Well, I think if you look at the manifestos, you can see what motivates them, and in many cases it is racially motivated. There's no point denying it, but I don't recall anybody drawing on early church fathers to justify their massacre of children.
Would you say that there is an ethnic bend to Christian nationalism?
Yes.
Okay, so then,
And I think
then
it's-
who is to say that a mass shooter that cites ethnicity for an inspiring factor for why there's a mass shooter, like why would you not say that Christian nationalism might play a role into that?
I think it's a pity that there does seem to be a sort of racial inflection to Christian nationalism. It's not.
Hang on, we lost the.
Still got me?
No.
Am I still here?
Oh,
Can you still hear me?
You're still here. It's YouTube. YouTube's not
Oh.
Hang on. Give it a sec.
No.
Give it a sec.
The squids have.
You should.
The squids have quit the race.
Oh.
Oh no!
Oh no! We're back. We're back. We're back.
Okay.
We're back.
Okay.
Don't charge back your super chats for the love of God. We're back.
Mention of it that I share or care too much about. In my previous life, obviously, I loved and married and settled down with somebody who was not of my own race. And if the people that you choose to hang out with when you don't have to don't establish your racial attitudes, I don't know what would to anyone's satisfaction.
This is
so
must have been
I
a
don't
hard
know.
divorce.
I don't love the fact that most of these Christian nationalists seem to be young white guys, but by the same token, I've seen black conservatives, and I think we'll stick with what we have for now. Certainly, I do think it's a responsibility of older and better educated Christians and these guys, confessor priests, to remind them that there's no skin color.
I'm just curious, for
in
you
heaven.
personally, if you could choose between 10 million Mexican Catholics coming into this country or 10 million atheist Norwegians.
Well, I'm very racist against Spanish people, so you put me in a bit of a bind. I like blacks, I like whites, I like Asians. I don't love Spaniards, so you put me in a bit of a bind. But I would have to come down on the side of Christians no matter where they're from.
Well, that's good, okay.
You would have to. That's he's
choice.
taking a hit for the cause.
Gang, I you know what I need? You know what I need? I need a stress ball, right, gang? So someone super chat so I can get a stress ball. That's what I need, right? Anyway, carry on.
Portland is burning. Thank you for the $2. $2 to keep Whick striving for improvement. You're gonna need a stress ball after this.
This is a question for Mr. 𝕵𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜. I was raised Catholic.
I don't know what that is. You're going to have to.
Wait, what did he say?
Bob. I'm sorry.
No, though I really know how to pronounce your last name. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Greek.
You say Mr. What? Hang on. I gotta hear this.
I don't know.
Fine. This is a question for Mr. 𝕵𝖚𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜. I was raised
Milo Yiannopoulos. It's Yiannopoulos, correct? Am I wrong?
No, it's Milo 𝕚𝖘𝖚𝑗𝑒𝑘𝑢𝑝O. Didn't you hear him?
What does that even mean?
I don't know, but I'm pretty certain someone's going to reveal that it's a slur, and I've just been saying it multiple times on stream.
To explain.
Fair enough.
Bob. I'm sorry.
No, though I really know how to pronounce your last name. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Greek. My question is, I was raised Roman Catholic. I attended both
Milo
Latin
pizza, Greek
masses
potatoes.
and English language masses up until my sophomore year of college, which was very recently.
That's clear. Thank you for the $10 for the stress ball fund. Appreciate you, buddy.
Attracted to men. I have
It's gonna be
had
a stress ball made of gold.
exclusively sex with men. All of my relationships have been with men.
That's
and
gay.
I'm very aware of the fact that these homosexual relationships are a sin according to Catholic doctrine. And I'm wondering if you have practical advice for overcoming these things. I'm not interested in whether or not they're sinful.
I mean, are you sincerely...
I'm completely sincere. I mean...
Because I will have a real conversation with you. It's just that there's been a particular tone this evening, you know, so...
I have been very ironic with you and sarcastic, but this is a completely sincere question.
You can understand why I'm asking.
I totally understand. I mean, we could talk in the bathroom if you'd like, but...
Oh, God.
Definitely
I'm interested in actual practical applications. I'm not interested in whether or not
quite a
it's
short refractory
ethical.
index from mocking someone to saying you want to have sex with them. All right, look, what the church teaches is not that homosexuality in large part is a cluster of symptoms to early childhood trauma. Whether that trauma is having no male role model to look up to, whether it's...
You mean like fucking Alexander the Great, son of Philip of Macedon, who led a Macedonian campaign to conquer...
Sunday, is that your go-to example here? Right? Like, I mean, I get it, right? I understand.
He's a famous gay person from history. Famous.
Yeah, but don't we have any like more recent examples? Some more modern?
Hey, he's more recent than Patroclus and Achilles.
I suppose
he
so.
brought with him on campaign.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
Yo, Portland is burning. Thank you for the $2. A stress ball made of solid gold would be useless. The gold is actually pretty malleable. But
how about Ian McKellen? A spotless career. No, I haven't heard a single bad thing about him. Class act all the way. Very, very gay individual. Very lovely man.
The failure to form platonic attachments with, male authority figures. There's a bunch of things that can happen. Or sexual assault. You're not responsible for what happens to you, but you are responsible for what you do afterwards and what you do with that. And
but I'm looking for practical advice, day-to-day things.
Sure. Well, then you should. The easiest. The first
Stop
thing.
fucking men. Isn't that like the only thing you can say? I mean, what else can you do?
Easier said than done. as my damp pillows will attest. I think that the first thing. Look, I'm going to assume that you're being serious, and I'm not going to give you any sort of flippant, frivolous kind of day-to-day whatever. I practiced mortification. When I was getting
like
myself
more
out of
like
that, I used
flagellants and
oh god,
extremely annoying and lasts a really long time.
Oh, did you hear what he said?
Is that what he means?
He just described exactly what he did.
Oh, I did not hear. No, please go back.
KKK, listen.
When I was getting myself out of that, I used hot oil because it's extremely annoying and lasts a really long time, and it kind of like kills any sort of sexual appetite. But the first step before any of that is to figure out why you ended up like this in the first place. Because you weren't born this way, that's sort of 1980s propaganda. There's no gay gene, they would have found it by now. We have mapped the genome, it's not there.
No, there's no, the reason why people care about there being no gay gene is so that you can't eugenically purge the gays and the trans people. So Milo's dipping his balls in hot oil, apparently. That's an unorthodox approach. I guess the
And
results
crispy
speak for
chicken
themselves.
nuggets. Yeah. Breaded.
Golden calf fries.
Something was done to you, or something was not provided for you. And one or both of those things happened, which produced these feelings. And if you want to get right with God, the first step is to find out what it was, because you might not know and you might not remember. The
First step is to deep fry your testicles, apparently.
best place to go for that is a therapist who was trained by any of the sort of descendants of the
Some people like have this kink with the hot wax, right? Right, where they use a candle wax and the hot wax. You ever heard of that? Man, always.
Apparently cornflakes were invented because it was understood that corn lowered libido.
This sounds like misinformation. To be real,
it's on Wikipedia. I don't know. You can just
it just said it's one of those things. It might be true. It just doesn't sound.
I mean, maybe they were just wrong. I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, like I mean, I respect it. Fine, if you want to do that, cool, right? But I never got the whole hot wax, pain, cock and ball torture, all that thing. I don't get it. But go on.
Godfather of they call it reparative therapy now, and his son is still active, and they still train therapists. And within quite a short space of time, they will help you to find an answer. And there are a variety.
Never mind. You were right. A misconception, this must have been corrected since I read this years ago. A misconception in popular culture falsely claims that cornflakes were invented or advertised as an aphrodisiac. In actuality, Snopes writes, the product was never advertised as an anti-masturbatory morning meal, according to Howard Market, a professor of the history of medicine at the University of Michigan and author of a book on the Kellogg family. So, unfortunately, he must continue to boil his balls. Cornflakes will avail him none.
Therapies that look to the observer extremely funny, that nonetheless do work, and I'll let you discover what some of those are for yourself. But there's a path out if you want it. Almost everybody can reach celibacy if they are sincerely committed to it, and the numbers vary from like 10 to 20%.
Yeah, if you have less money, celibacy is all the more easier. Super chat to myself or Whick to support the stream and to save your soul.
Nah, that's not what I heard. I heard if you super chat to Whick's stream, you get all the ladies and or men and or non-binaries, whatever you're into. It's like an instant. They can tell. They can smell it on you. You'll be in the club and they'll come up to you and they'll. Did you donate to the Sundick show? Oh, and instant in. That's what I hear. Everybody's saying it, okay? Everyone's saying it.
Did Milo get lower? Milo is remarkably bad at speaking into the mic.
People who successfully manage to enter into a relationship with a woman, have an active sexual life, and have children, somewhere between 1 in 10 and 1 in 5
I'm sorry, is celibacy the best case scenario for a homosexual?
For a lot of people, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vosh.
What?
Again,
I don't get it.
Hey, Destiny. So you had a great talk with the Muslim extremist Quarantos about
Quarantos! Oh my goodness!
And good takes about how Muslim.
Someone's going places.
Yo, you remember Quarantos, don't you? Did you ever talk to Quarantos?
No, he's the guy who wears the sock on his head, right?
Yeah, I am responsible for Quarantos in a very real way.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay, just go ahead.
Nations are greater than Christian nations. I want to ask Milo.
I didn't expect his name to travel this far, though.
When they are barely holding on to their legitimacy.
Oz is just green with
Islam
envy.
Is gaining traction, and while Christianity is taking D-list celebrities that take cock, well, at least 20 years ago, or 20 minutes ago.
Okay, I'll ignore the last bit. Catholicism and Islam are both growing, and the reason for that seems to be that people correctly intuit that if a belief system or a club, a society, a way of life kind of demands nothing of you, then it's probably not worth very much. So people are very, it's one of the reasons that Protestants are so kind of ideologically promiscuous. You know, church hopping happens when all you have to do is just show up, listen to a preacher for 45 minutes, you know, listen to some nice music and go home. People don't get very much out of it because there's not really much to get out of it. Islam and Catholicism are quite demanding, and they ask a lot of their followers. In the world we live in today, it's no surprise that they're both growing. You say implement like it's, you know, the death penalty or something. What I would suggest is that America rediscovers its founding principles, which are not untrammeled freedom. Freedom of religion in America was designed to avoid Protestant wars. It wasn't so Muslims could take public office. And that should be reversed, and it should be against the law.
What?
If you live in America and you're a servant of the people in America, you should be a church-going Christian.
What?
It ought to be a rule. But something happened in 1776 that I don't think was necessary, and it was probably a mistake. When that ugly sedition occurred.
Yo, Skill Tree Gaming, thanks for the $5. I was driving to the slate, but in Whick Muppet voice, to the void! I thought it made me chuckle. Carry on.
Just between Protestant denominations, but of course would always blossom out. And then it's sort of enshrined the right to commit various infractions against the Ten Commandments, including the First Amendment. I think if you want to sort of reinstitute things, all you really need to do is to return to an understanding that none of this stuff works without Christianity. And one of the ways to communicate that would probably be to reestablish maybe Presbyterianism or Episcopalianism, probably the Episcopal Church, I would guess, since that's the one that most of the presidents seem to go for. It's the church Tucker goes to. It's the National Cathedral in Washington. Most of the elites in the country are pretty happy with Episcopalianism. You know, you get back home to the real religion eventually, but let's start with that. It seems to me that that should be quite quickly reestablished so that all public bodies operate not only in the name of America, but in the name of God. And then if you want to be elected to any kind of public office, you have to be Christian.
Well, how would they implement that? Or you don't like the word implement because it sounds like you're
I'll moot it with another $5. Christianity and Islam are growing because the world population is growing. Atheists, Hindus, Judaism, Jainism, Buddhism are also growing. Good to know.
Morals to how good their lives are.
Well, people know if you're a Christian. I mean, they know if you show up to church. It's a sort of only when you take God out do you need like social credit scores because no one's really like paying any attention to each other. So you have to kind of have this like weird Orwellian technological horror show where technology tries to piece together information about a person to figure out if they're okay or not. Everybody in your parish knows if you go to church or not. If you run for public office and you don't go to church, you're not eligible. And then the onus, you know, falls to you to prove that you are what you purport to be. That doesn't seem to me to be a problem. Anyone who goes to a regular local parish will know that. If you're a Christian, people know. You know, people know when you go to church, and it's a gentler and more sophisticated, and I think more normal form of kind of social currency and social capital than the you know, the horrific Chinese version.
Well, that sounds almost as feasible as communism, so I appreciate you and good luck with your future endeavors.
Taking shots.
All right, boys, I'm going to try to ask 2 pointed questions to try to get some dubs for y'all. So, Milo, at some point you mentioned Dutch paintings. It immediately made me think of the Calvinists around the time period that you're kind of advocating to go back for. And their biggest thing that they advocated for was they were very business-oriented, but their simplicity and modesty were the values that they valued the most. How would you kind of reconcile in a transition to a society that has a Christian nationalist government, the American values of excess and stuff like that, you know, to the modesty Christian value that is really important? Yeah.
I don't think those were the American values until very recently. I mean, for the first 250 years of this country, precisely that kind of modesty obtained. Look at the 1950s. You know, you've got there's an ethos of humility, of service, of family orientation, right? America is kind of a Calvinist country. I mean, you go to Catholic churches; they don't feel like Catholic churches in Europe. They don't feel like it's certainly not like Italy. But it's nothing like France. It's nothing like the UK. You know, America, wherever you go, it is kind of Calvinist. There's a sort of over-earnestness, There's a sort of flavor of slight humorlessness sometimes, you know, sort of taking everything very, very deeply seriously and being incredibly wounded by it and taking everything just like, you know, everything is the apocalypse. And it's a very Calvinist kind of flavor to things, and it's why? Because so many areas in America that now hold the reins of prestige culture are Dutch, you know, that's why, because they come from precisely the place you're saying. So I don't think that American values were ever really of excess. I think that's something that has emerged. It's something that's been thrust on Black America as well.
Black America?
These sort of very degenerate, self-destructive.
What is he bringing it to that? That wasn't the question. No, look, never mind.
I think in the total absence of any argument in favor of his actual position, he's really just banking on his audience just really not liking black people.
I guess so. How much longer we got on this? By the way,
I have till 6 p.m. so I have exactly 20 minutes.
Me
then
too.
I have to dive.
So
perfect.
Yeah.
So 20 minutes wherever this falls, folks. If you want us to do this again and for longer or for more and more crazy stuff, super chat to both.
Is
of
that
us.
the more money we make from this, the longer we'll be able to put up with, you know, whatever it is, whatever horror show we happen to be watching at the time, right? So again, you want to incentivize, you like this content, incentivize us to do this content, right? Give us some positive reinforcement. Go on.
Indeed.
Social attitudes that pop up in the music and the culture, all the rest of it. I don't think there's anything.
It's the rap
particularly
music's
American
fault.
about that. America's basically British, and with that dash of Calvinism in from the Dutch up top, that's basically been the sort of central conflict of America. And the soul of America, even after the Civil War, kind of remained basically, vaguely, mostly Anglophone, you know, mostly Anglo, although Americans don't like to think of it like that. But that Calvinist attitude, which also, by the way, gives rise to Puritanism and purity tests and cancel culture, is the thing that obtains in the Dutch areas, the Yankeedom, New York. None of this has anything really to do with excess. Excess is a modern phenomenon that's driven by runaway capitalism and by a small group of people highly motivated to wreck the place.
Thanks, Mel. I appreciate that. This one's for Stephen over here. So in your talk today, you mentioned sort of like America's need a return to spirituality that can kind of lift people up from addictions to their phones, stuff like that, that can kind of, not a religious center to keep people
I think that was a joke,
on a
my
moral
dude.
level, but
yeah,
it almost sounds like you're arguing.
I actually don't think he was joking. I think that this is a
faith in the
take that
American
Destiny
process.
has. I don't think spirituality isn't the word he used. But I think
Well, some higher purpose.
Yeah. I don't think that was a joke. It didn't come off as a joke.
I think it was tongue in cheek at least, because I mean, first of all, like that's his own business model. But secondly, like most of how people are going to be getting access to religiosity in present day is going to be through mediums, like
maybe
YouTube and Twitter and whatnot.
Drove some minions to your canvassing in
Unfortunately.
Georgia,
Which is a bad thing.
What
I
would
agree.
be your answer to like first steps to try to regain people's political faith and stop the fracturing too much?
Yeah, I think one of the huge things that we have right now is political fracturing. And I think the political fracturing has made it impossible for anybody to be proud of the country because like even things that we do that I think are amazing, like become hardcore politicized. So this is a risky one in Tennessee. I don't know how much the audience's mind, but like I would consider, for instance, like the development of the mRNA vaccines. I think that that is like a championing of the American project. That was capitalism at its best, with Trump doing the warp speed thing to use the government to incentivize like a company that was working with other companies all over the world to engineer and create a vaccine in like less than 1 year for a novel virus. That's something that I would hope that like every American would be like, that's really cool that we did that we were able to do it that fast, you know? I know Trump wants to take credit for it, and I think he should get some credit for it because I think the warp speed was a good idea. You know, he guaranteed money for those companies to take the risk to make those vaccines. But because we're so hardcore politicized, we can't take credit for that. It becomes a political issue where, you know, even the political party that existed under Trump now hates the vaccine, and then liberals have their thing with the vaccine. It feels like every single, the intervention that we did with Ukraine, I think was really amazing. I think the fact that Ukraine was a country that looked like it had no opportunity whatsoever to stand up to Russia, and with NATO intelligence, with US leadership in NATO, I think we've done something amazing there, but we've helped them largely on their own. I mean, it's not US lives that are being lost, you know, not to take any credit from Ukraine. That's something that I think is really amazing that America's done. Even things like Bush's programs to
Thank you, Ryan Schmidt, for the $5. I have a critical analysis of Monet's impression Sunrise due Monday. Any tips? Don't imbibe whatever on earth Milo is on.
To fight AIDS in Africa, or Bill Gates, funding for malaria in Africa. All of these things, I think, are really amazing projects that America's done. That all
Strawberries are very good for staying awake late if you're working late.
of us, irrespective of our political differences, should be able to look and go, oh, that's really cool. I'm American. America did that, and I feel really proud of it. But nobody does, because instead these are like all political pawns to use in our little arguments on Twitter and stuff for us. So to return to your question, I don't like anybody that says a return to anything, because it feels a bit fantastical. I don't know of any society that's ever said, okay, well, we're going to undo the last 50 years of progress and go back to this thing. I don't think it really works that way, especially with how much technology has changed everything. So we need to be forward-looking, not looking into the past. And I think that forward-looking thing, it has to be with less division, because the more divided we are, the more impossible it is for us to kind of all collectively work and vie towards one particular thing, which in my hope would be like the American project, however differently we all view it.
I just have a quick follow-up question to that. So
Yeah, go
a
for
lot
it.
of the wins that you mentioned were not specifically American government wins. Like a lot of those are private companies, like the mRNA vaccines. Yeah, it's a great marvel of science, but a lot of that were, they got funded, but it was private companies that did that. It wasn't the American government that made it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but those companies existed in America for a reason. And a lot of the public research that had already been done on the mRNA process, that stuff spans back to, I think, the 80s, where people were starting to do that. So we do a lot of public funding for general research, and then we had private American companies. But you're right, it wasn't just the American government. But I mean, I'm an American. As Americans, we hate the government, right? I know in Tennessee you guys hate the government, right? Yeah, I'm not saying that the American government has to do it. I'm saying America as a country has to do it. And sometimes that can be our biggest companies. But, like I said before, it feels like now everybody fucking hates our biggest company. Nobody likes Facebook. Nobody likes ExxonMobil. Nobody likes fucking any huge American company. We all shit on our companies, and those are some of the largest things we built as Americans. And it's well, fuck. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like we're in an area where, I'd be super curious. I did this with Adam Sosnick when I was on his podcast last. When you ask people, what are you proud to be an American for? That's a really difficult question to ask a lot of people. I think when I ask my parents, I'll get things winning the Cold War, or stuff from decades and decades ago. And I was okay, well, in the past, I should be able to say in the past 5 years, really. But at least in the past 10 or 20 years, what are you proud to be an American? People on the left will complain about colonialism and white supremacy, and people on the right, well, now all they complain about is trans people. But it just feels like we have nothing that we can kind of all say okay, yeah, it sucks that we fought, but in '69 we went to the moon. We don't have our moon launching now. Oh, I guess aside from the vaccines, I'll give one more example so I'm not too partisan. Elon Musk. I hate that guy, okay? I really do. But Tesla's really fucking cool, and so are the rockets. SpaceX is really cool. Having the rocket come back to the planet is a really fucking cool thing. When we first saw that, I don't know how many people watched that first stream. That was the coolest fucking thing ever. And this was after we were shipping our astronauts over, I think, to China or Russia to fly on their fucking shuttles to get up to the International Space Station. But that's something you can't be proud of, because now if I say I don't like Elon Musk, but SpaceX and Tesla are pretty fucking cool. That's a political talking point now. It's wait, you support the white supremacist guy that wants to bring people like Milo and me back to Twitter? Yeah, I don't know. Just the political division makes it impossible for us to have this shared idea of what it means to be American and what we should be proud of. And I think we need to work on getting that back.
I think people like stuff that's good and they don't like stuff that's bad. People don't uniformly hate the government even here. I mean, people know that there are militarized police forces that are a bit sinister. They also know that the local sheriff, if you get pulled over by the sheriff, you're probably okay because they're mostly reasonable people. They're able to distinguish between the government doing its job really well, which doesn't happen very often anymore, and the government doing its job really badly, which happens almost everywhere. And the success of private enterprise in this country is because the government failed. It's not a sign of success, it's a sign of failure. The success of SpaceX tells us only that NASA is more interested in giving Muslims self-esteem about scientific achievements in the Muslim world, where they still think that nuclear reactors are powered by genies and fairies.
What?
That's what NASA spent its time doing under Obama. No shit, you can't get to the moon anymore. Taking...
We haven't been to the moon since, what, 80s? 70s? 79 or something?
Last moon mission.
1971.
That long ago, huh?
Yeah, so it ain't been Obama didn't do this, right? This was a thing, right? That was the last manned moon mission, I think, right?
The last moon man mission.
The shackles off private corporations.
Could be wrong.
They can rape and
No, I looked at it. You're right. I looked it up. Oh, wrong button.
Of course, going to produce some interesting and impressive economic phenomena. But more often than that, it's going to produce horrors. The vaccine is a horror. This sort of thing, I mean, it's...
The vaccine is a horror.
I don't know how to respond to somebody who thinks that the vaccine is a good idea. My communist friends no longer think that it was a good idea.
I mean, you could try with evidence. I know that it's painful for you, but...
The evidence of what? The fact that the most vaccinated countries in the world, the ones where everyone's dropping dead, the fact that it was never a problem in the first place, the fact that we should only ever have asked the old people to maybe stay in for a few months. I'm going
to be real with you, gang. I am a space simp. I love space. Space is the place. And yeah, so I like a lot of NASA stuff. I like old NASA stuff. I used to live near NASA, right? I would go and check out their tours and the museums and things in Titusville, near Cape Kennedy, right? Love that, right? I think that we need more space exploration, but yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Tyrannical horror. You have nothing to fear from Christians, but you have a lot to fear from people who want to lock you, screw you into your houses, and force medicine into you until you can, and then tell you can't go back to work otherwise. That's not private enterprise. That's a drug cartel. And that's what America has, because America hasn't really had properly functioning capitalism for quite some time. It's got nepotism. It's got all kinds of deeply, deeply corrupt late-stage sort of intertwining of government and business. And all of that is a sign of the failure of government, not the success of America.
Milo Yiannopoulos preaching about the dangers of injectable drugs.
Is what is.
Hey, Milo,
right?
If Christian nationalism were to succeed, God willing, what measures would need to be taken to make sure it wasn't subverted? You mentioned that in order to run for public office, you need to be Christian, but like what policies specifically would need to be taken in order to make sure Christian nationalism wasn't subverted in America?
I mean, you can't know another man's heart, so you can never know if somebody is all that they claim publicly to be. But when we elect politicians, it kind of doesn't matter. That's really a matter for their consciences and for God, because if somebody looks like a Christian, acts like a Christian, goes to church and says Christian things on TV, passes Christian laws, invites Christians to the White House when they get elected. I mean, Trump, I'm under no illusions about Trump being some kind of religious leader. Give me a break. This is not somebody who can lead a kind of authentic religious revival in politics. No. But he was very good to Christians, first president to show up for the March for Life, first president to invite the number of evangelical preachers that he just was, so on and so forth. I think that's good enough. That's fine. So as long as somebody is, doing all the stuff they're supposed to be doing, what they do in their private life, if they're elected officials, as long as they are not letting those values spread into the way they govern, we can afford, at least at first, to be relatively lenient about it.
At least at
Later,
first.
who knows?
Oh.
But no, I mean,
That's ominous.
If somebody, like I say, if somebody acts and governs and passes laws like a Christian, I think people will know if they're Christian.
Right. No, I was asking about.
This isn't Christian nationalism. This is Christian Bolshevism.
Those Christians were elected, like, to make sure that it wasn't subverted in the future.
Well, I see. Well, so it works relatively well in Europe when you have an established church, right? So the head of state is also the head of, whatever heretical sect of Christianity you're under. But no, I mean, so America kind of spiraled out of control in about 300 years, but most of these European countries were stable for 1,000, 2,000. It worked pretty well when you have an established church, so that government does things in the name of the monarch and in the name of God, right? So. I know that this is a sort of a slightly alien concept in this country by design, but things kind of work better when people are reminded, as my friend acknowledged, that there's something greater than themselves. And those public rituals, whether it's royal weddings or the fact that everything important that happens in a nation's life happens in a church, it sort of has an effect on the country. It has a really powerful effect on change for change's sake. People are much less likely to do stuff like that. And if you look at, sort of where the great dramas happen of particular countries, America, it's the courtroom, right? We come to know ourselves in America through court cases. We don't talk about abortion, we talk about Roe v. Wade. The way that we know there's a problem with Black America is the OJ trial, right? That's when white America realizes, oh, we have a problem here. America's
Is that when it
forum
happened?
for national dramas is legalistic, it's in the courtroom. And that's...
I'm so jaded, nothing phases me anymore. 5 more minutes. We have 5 more minutes. Guys, I want that first digit to be a 2. We have 5 minutes to make it happen. There will be more of these if that happens.
Get it done.
Get it done. Do it. Do it.
Because it's wrenched down from heaven, and it's wrenched down from the monarch, and it's wrenched down from anything ineffable, anything untouchable, anything aspirational. It's much more easily corrupted. So I think reestablishing the church as making America's official national religion and language and culture to be Western European Christian, it seems to have worked quite well for Europe. And I don't know if you can really ask of any civilization that lasts more than 2,000 years.
Mad Honeybee with $5. I'm tired of making you feel guilty. I love you. I love you too.
Personally,
and more money. I love you more.
Yeah, is my love just worthless to you? What is this?
I mean, no, we can measure
I'm right
this.
here. I'm hearing all of this.
We can measure this in donos, subs, views. There are metrics that we can use to measure love and to value it at a specific monetary amount. And Murat Argaro with his $5 says, if you/Sunday were moderating this debate, would you have kicked Milo out or let it continue? At what point would you have kicked Milo out? No, I would have let it continue.
I would have allowed questioners. I would have allowed him to persist for as long as he wants, provided that he allowed questioners to kick him.
I would have stopped him. Like, I would have cut him off if he went overtime by a significant amount, which he did, I feel. But I'm not there with the timer. We didn't time this.
I feel like at this juncture, especially given how low his standing is, even amongst American conservatives, like, I gotta be honest with you, I don't think this debate was worth it. This seemed like 4 hours of just nothing. Your love is academic. Yes, it is, Ben. Leave it. Thank you for the 220 Canadian.
Pennsylvania Avenue is
a very specific number. I'm going to assume that's symbolic of something deeply meaningful.
President, it would probably be my first executive order.
Thank you.
Hello, Milo. When you were the champion of campus free speech in 2015-2016, I was a big fan, and I appreciate your work. And as a fellow convert to the Catholic Church, I was really encouraged to hear about your interest in the faith. But I have some genuine and serious concerns about some of your comments that you've stated today. There is a strong tradition in the church of teaching dating back centuries that culminated in the Second Vatican Council in the document 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙 Dignitatis, that squarely condemn some of the things that you attribute to this vision of Christian nationalism as heresy. Could you, and I'll closely paraphrase because I don't have photographic memory, so this infallible ecumenical council stated that in its document proclaiming proclaiming religious freedom, that the truth can only proceed or succeed by the merits of its own truth and not by coercion. So could you comment on these teachings?
Absolutely. And look, absolutely. And nobody's suggesting that we're going to be instituting a Gestapo or anything like that.
Yo, you said Inquisition. You said you were going
atheistic.
Yeah, Inquisition, not Gestapo. Get it right.
I
These are
guess
technical
so.
distinctions. He doesn't want. He wants the people who are persecuting Jews to wear big, funny red hats and to jump into rooms unexpectedly in threes. Okay? There's a level of decorum.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Donate to the Sunday stream, guys. He's just so much less of a dork.
What it's entirely, as you will know, necessary for our salvation that we have the freedom to choose the wrong thing as much as we have the freedom to choose the right thing. But that doesn't mean that in Christian countries there aren't incentives in the tax system, laws against certain things. You know,
Speaking of laws against certain things, Whick, it is the hour. It is time.
It is upon us.
What are you singing us out with tonight?
Money, money, money must be funny in a rich man's world.
Okay, good night. No more. No,
What's
enough.
a poor Whick to do if I
Whick,
had a little
Whick,
money?
pay Whick before he keeps singing.
Yo, gang, thanks for coming in. We'll see you later next week.
Have a good night, Whick.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Bye. Okay. Cool. Gang, was that fun? Did you enjoy it? Thank you for coming here, gang. Thank you for being here. Really love every single one of you that came. Let's see where we can go. I've been trying to do these rate things, okay? I've been trying. Let's see if I can get this done here. Let's see if we can go properly. Let's see. What's the button? There's a button. Edit, customization, no, details. Redirect. Where's the redirects? I don't know. I thought I knew where it was, but I could be wrong. Sorry, gang. I don't know how to do this. I wanted to redirect us, but I'm not sure how. Let me give me one more minute. Okay, I can't figure it out. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be on Twitch and YouTube. Twitch and YouTube at 6 p.m. Eastern to talk about stochastic terrorism. Well, like I said, I can't figure out how to redirect us. If I could, we would go there. But for now, I must end. I bid thee all